gosh. Okay. Well, I botched that. Okay. Okay. Is it doing anything at all? Let's see. Munson Music live stream. Okay. Oh, yeah, there we go. All right, cool. Anybody watching? Oh my gosh, it's got the live thing going. Here I am. I'm going live. All right, cool. I guess the Q&A thing that I set up completely went crazy. But so I will put this on the community thread. Hey everybody who's watching, I hope somebody will find this. And let me put it on community maybe. I crashed the Q&A. All right, fun times with new technology, everybody. Q&A, but I'm live streaming to do the Q&A. All right, cool. Weird. It was doing the other thing. Oh, somebody's watching. All right, cool. All right, I think I can do the thing now. Hey, everybody. This is Munson with Munson Music Live. Completely botching new technology and stuff. Yeah, so the Q&A thing, something went weird there, but now I've got a live stream going. Can I edit that so it says the Q&A just for fun? It's maybe just me watching, right? So I go Q&A, Q&A, questions and answers, things I wish I knew when I started. And this is me trying to figure out how to do a live stream, and thank y'all for being patient if you're watching. All right, cool. So I'm going to run over here, and then what I thought I would do with this live stream. Hello! Oh, somebody found me. Hey, is it Canel99? Good to see you. All right, cool. I had this Q&A thing because somebody had asked me to do a live stream thing, and I thought this would be kind of useful. So I hope you can hear me okay. Feedback, cool. Oh gosh, there's more people finding it. Yay, awesome, cool. Renee, I hope you're there too somewhere. But I thought this would be an interesting thing because I feel like I get questions all the time. Every day I answer questions. I try and answer all the questions that people ask on comments. Yes, you are first to end up on the Q&A. Thanks for watching. Really, and I'm very, very grateful to everybody actually watching the channel and jamming virtually with people. It's super, super awesome. Oh, hey, Lori, how's it going? Cool, I'm doing good. It's morning. I'm awake, and I'm in the right place, I think. I'm so sorry that I crashed the other thing, or the interface between the tablet and thing wasn't working. But anyway, we're here. If you've got questions, I'm here to answer them. But I thought I would talk a little bit about where I started with the guitar, and or with music in general. So I actually wrote stuff randomly. Maybe I should post this somehow. So I have this list of things I'm supposed to talk about, but then you guys probably just have questions. But it says, what's going on? New thing is going on here, right? So I'm a private music teacher here in Newberry, South Carolina, right? So I teach from Monday through Saturday, normally, 8 hours a day-ish with private students. We have an opera house here, and we have a really big art scene going on in Newberry. It's a really small town, though, so we're like middle of South Carolina, between Columbia and Greenville-ish. We also do events, so you guys will see me posting open mic nights and open jams and game night stuff. Yeah, in this Q&A, I thought this would be kind of an interesting thing to kind of add to. So anyway, thanks for all the support, too, of the local students. I know sometimes you guys will catch that. Some of you guys are those people, and you probably are, looking forward to the next open mic night, which is next week. So next open mic is open mic Thursday, first Thursdays of the month, next April 6th, 7 p.m. at the shop. Next open jam, everybody get on a plane, right? Go on down. April 7th would be Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time at Munson Music in Newberry, South Carolina. So where I started with music, actually, I always did musical things as a kid. Oh, what's this? Is there a beginner version of She Talks to Angels? I may have an easier version, but that song's only 3 chords, so I would just go ahead and do it sort of the way it is. The tricky part with that song is that lick randomly, which you could kind of just abbreviate and just do as an E chord. But I need to do that as a cover lesson. I will put that on my list. Who's asking that question? See, this is the questions I get more than anything else. Can you do this? Can you do that? So I need to put She Talks to Angels. I have a how to play on it, but I don't have a cover lesson on it. She Talks to Angels. And that's always a weird thing, because like if somebody asks for one, asks for a song, and sometimes I do the chart and I throw it up on Pinterest, and they go, no, I need the how to play, and I'm like, I don't do how to plays anymore, but I have songs that are similar, and then I'll send them a link, or I need the cover lesson. I feel like that's the main thing, right? It's more fun just playing together, right? And that's where I learned a lot of stuff when I started on the guitar and stuff. Our first face-to-face prof. Here I am, sporty popsicle. Hey, Renee. Oh, thanks so much, Blaine. Cool. You can go check out the how to play on She Talks to Angels. I have a chart on Pinterest, and that's a weird thing, because you'll ask for, sometimes if you ask for a song, I may shoot you the chart just because I've already done it for a student, or sometimes I just write it out. You know, I play Miracle Worker sometimes, like Scotty on Star Trek, and I'm like, all right, they asked for that, let me go write it out. And then I send it back, but it depends on how much stuff I've got going on in a day sometimes, or how much free time. Sometimes there isn't a lot of free time. I got to get home and spend time with the family. That's the most important thing. But where I started with all this music stuff is I used to sing songs as a kid. That I remember my earliest musical memory was singing songs and making up songs in the backyard to trees. So that's kind of weird. I must have been like 4 or 5 years old randomly. And then I did anything musical growing up, but I never really thought of that as a career path until later, until I got to college, and I was like, what do you mean you can major in guitar? That's cool. So I ended up with a music education degree with a performance certificate in classical guitar, and then took jazz lessons from this amazing guitar player named Robert Newton in Columbia for a long time. So you're awesome. Who made that quilt? Oh, the quilt. Oh, gosh. So my wife has a polyester allergy. I don't know if any of you guys knew that was even a thing that you could do. But when she had our child, Sarah, she had a polyester allergy, and so we had just bought this couch that was a very expensive polyester couch. And so I bought these. You can buy these on Amazon randomly. But it's 100% cotton. So we just like covered the couch in like 4 of these awesome quilts. And I love this design. But it does remind me of like homemade quilt stuff. And my grandmother, actually, we now live in my grandmother's house, used to do all kinds of sewing and quilting and make stuff. And I have some homemade ones that she made and that her mother made and her grandmother made, which is bizarre. But anyway, I just threw it up there just so you're not looking at the laundry room, because I'm in the laundry room. Other questions? Oh gosh, Ricky's got a question. Can you do a cover on Garden by Pearl Jam? I will write that down. I feel like most of what people will ask for is requests. Garden by Pearl Jam. So I was just talking about that because people do ask about that. And I do literally have a notebook. I think I left it at the store because that's normally where I write down the request. So if you ask for a song on a video, I may go, definitely will add it to the list. And there is literally a list, and I meant and intended to bring it just to show you, like, look, it's a real thing. It's a notebook, and I've shown it before on the channel in recorded videos, but it's literally like front and back, like where I've just jotted down like these are things that people want to see. So it's too much stuff to do in a lifetime, I'm sure, because I've been doing this for 10 years now, and people have been asking for songs. 90% of all the stuff up on the channels probably is, I know for sure, is either stuff that people ask for off of YouTube or private students ask for, or yeah, that's 90% of everything there. The other 10% is probably like billboards I thought were popular. I don't know what cool is, but I used to go to the billboards every week and go, ooh man, cool. That's the cool new song. And I still try and do that. Like once a month, I'll go and, oh, there's a cool one. Or if my wife is, or if my daughter's singing some song, I'm like, oh yeah. Like right now, I've got a 7-year-old who likes to sing the Wellerman. So I really want to do the Wellerman sea shanty. I don't know if you guys know that one. But, it's just funny, like hearing a 7-year-old sing about tea and rum and pirate stuff, There once was a ship that sailed to sea. There once was a ship that sailed to sea. Name of the ship was a Welly Old Tea. That song. Anyway, I posted a chart for it on the Pinterest. Other things that I had questions for. Oh, and thank you, Jack. Thanks for tuning in, man. This is so weird because everything on YouTube, for the most part, if it's just one person on the screen, it's one person literally talking to themselves. And so here I am talking to myself. So other things. All right. So randomly, I got my first guitar when I was 15. Just if you guys want some other like history, because the topic here is supposed to be things I wish I knew when I started. So when I started with my first instrument, because Renee had asked about my first instrument, was an Appalachian dulcimer, which is a beautiful woman-shaped instrument, zither. Strings go across the entire length of the instrument, and the frets are put in diatonically, which means related to a major scale, kind of like harmonica, so you can't actually play a bad note. But you can't actually pick out all the melodies you want to either, but it's cool because there's just drone strings, and so I got really good at strumming on the dulcimer with my right hand, and I was a trombone player, I think, the year before, 2 years before, or started playing trombone in the band. So then you're doing a lot of this with the slide. So the strumming thing, I think I had the muscles and kind of a rhythm sense, I think, from the trombone and the dulcimer, which I immediately applied to guitar when I got one. But my uncle was my first guitar teacher. This is actually his guitar that he gifted me the Christmas before he passed away. But he was my first guitar teacher. And I remember he wasn't very good at the guitar, so he only knew like 2 chords randomly. Yeah, dulcimer's awesome, right? Oh my gosh, man, yeah. Yeah, if you want a fun instrument, you could go play dulcimer. I'm sitting here reading the comments while I'm talking about the other thing. But Uncle Walter is the man. This was Uncle Walter's guitar. Uncle Walter knew 2 chords, D major 7 and G major 7. And I have no idea where that came from for him. I think he meant to do the G and just like missed, but he liked the sound of it kind of thing. So he would like literally like play everything with those 2 chords, like any song, Shadows of the Moonlight. And he had like this weird rhythm sense where like he'd do like a bar of 7 plus a bar of 3 plus a bar of 4. That means he has no rhythm. Like it's just like if you were going to write it out, it would look like a Frank Zappa chart. But, my daughter used to sing Frank Zappa, inappropriate bits in public. Yeah. My sister used to jump on tables and sing Madonna at Pizza Hut in like 8th grade. But anyway, that's cool. So anyway, I realized early on with my uncle anyway, when I first started, that if I took his guitar away from him to practice, he couldn't play it. And because I was just like that when I was a kid, because kids are just awful, right? And so, but now I look back on it, it was like he was such a gift, like time-wise, and I would not be doing this on the YouTube or doing musical stuff or being able to pay my bills doing something I enjoy if it had not been for him and his influence, and eternally grateful. Other people that really helped me a lot when I was coming up were my band director, Lorraine Paris. She came here in 1947, the year my dad was born. And she was here still writing checks for the band director's stuff until she passed away in 2004. So she was a huge influence. She also taught my parents, or my mom, and my uncle, and my 2 uncles, and my aunt in the band. So the big musical influence in this town too, just awesome. Lorraine Paris was amazing, and there's nobody like her. But more band directors should step up and try and stay in one place. I feel like we have in here and anyway in Newberry, and this may be an administration thing, but they come, they stay, then they go, and so you can't build a program like that. But that's a side issue, all right? Because we're here to answer questions, right? So where I started was coming up, doing a lot of musical things, just getting involved in everything. The other instruments that I learned really started learning when I started teaching in the music store, and I got this music store from my friend Michael Reeve Snyder. It was called Michael's Music. Now it's called Munson Music, like it's a genre. We're not just a place. We're a thing that you can play. So, oh my gosh, Dayoon, yay! Hey man, it's so good to see you, man. You're such a big, you're a light to me on my comments every day. I see Dayoon's always like asking questions about cool piano and guitar. Anyway, it's great to see you, Dayoon. How often do I play dulcimer? Every now and then somebody will ask about the dulcimer in the window at the store, and I will pull it out and then play it. Last week I played somebody else's dulcimer just to check it out, and make sure. But it's a fun instrument because you can't really play anything bad. And you can work on your strumming if you're into guitar strumming or ukulele strumming or mandolin strumming or, so those other instruments for me too, I learned as people wanted to learn them in the store. So I feel like I have a good sense of how to learn these instruments, and I think the main thing with teaching, I think, isn't necessarily me telling you what to do as much as us getting together to figure out where to go next. The root of the word pedagogy, which is to teach, is peda, which means to walk, right? So we walk together, and we do that when we're playing music together on YouTube, or if we're asking each other for songs, you're leading me towards something I may not have heard before, so now you're teaching me something even though I'm supposed to be the teacher. Anyway, getting too deep there. But anyway, so things I wish I knew when I started. One thing, when I first started, my uncle was teaching me guitar, and he thought that, what song? Leaving on a Jet Plane was my very first song on the guitar. But my uncle did not know it in the John Denver key. And so I was taught the C chord first. Awesome. Second chord was F, the bar chord, because my uncle did not know F major 7. So that was my second chord. I know you guys are like, oh man, that's hard. And it is. This is literally the hardest place to do a bar chord too, is first fret. Because you've got more tension because of the physics of the instrument. This is the hardest place to hold down the bar. It's easier to bar up on 7th fret because the strings got more give randomly. So that's one thing I wish I knew when I started, was like, this is not the easiest place to start trying to do bar chords. It's normally where somebody would try and teach them. I also wish I knew F major 7. My beautiful F major 7. I love you. Oh my gosh, it's the Dreams chord. Fleetwood Mac Dreams, right? Is that F and G? Now here you go again. F major 7 is not a bar chord. So you'll see me use that all the time. If you don't know it already, it's that first finger on the B string on the first fret, second finger on the G, second fret, third finger on the D on the third fret. And there's not a how to play that I have on YouTube where F chord doesn't happen in the key of C, and I do not go over that voicing because that is the bomb. So that's one thing I really wish I knew when I started. If you're getting into bar chords and doing them, you may want to try doing it up above the neck. Bar chord songs I normally start with randomly would be Hotel California, because it's kind of cool to do the B minor to the F sharp. And there's a video that I made called, what is it, left hand something easy tips, left hand tips or something. If you run into that video that goes or uses that as a chord progression. Although I would recommend not covering Eagles on YouTube. They will either mute you or block you. I like the most viewed video on Munson covers for a long time was Hotel California. It had like 1.5 million views. And then all of a sudden the Eagles came along and then they blocked it. They said, no, you can't watch this video. And then it was blocked for like 5 years, and then they unblocked it randomly. So now you can watch it in B minor. They left the E minor version up, and that's the key that Don Felder originally wrote it in. There's a great video of Don Felder teaching that song, if you've not seen it on YouTube also, where he goes, yes, I wrote this song in E minor. Then we capoed it up until Don Henley could sing it, and we ended up in B minor. And then, but I don't like B minor anymore because I can't sing that high, so I'm gonna teach it to you in A minor. And then you're like, what? Don, come on, man. But anyway, moving on. All right, I've got 2 requests so far. I feel like that's mainly the questions that people ask more than anything else. So somebody asked for She Talks to Angels. I know I've got a chart and I've got a how to play. Garden by Pearl Jam. Future Days came up with randomly, like just while I'm thinking of, because that's on my list, the notebook list somewhere. Future Days, Pearl Jam, because I feel like that's gotten asked for a couple times. I also have a chart for that on the Pinterest. I saw that Left Hand Tips video many times. Good, man. Yeah. There's 2 versions, I think. There's one where it's got the zoom in on the left hand, where it's like you can really see what I'm doing with the hands. While we're talking about that, with the topic of things I wish I knew when I started, things that can make your left hand easier, no matter what instrument. I'm using the guitar as an example just because this is the guitar. This is the instrument I have at my house. Most of the other ones are hanging up on a cool stand at the store, so that I can, when I'm shooting the covers, I can go from this to this to this to this to this, or grab them to teach, private students at the store. With the left hand, the main 2 things in that video, that left hand tips video, which is awesome, and you should all go and see it, is mainly how close you get to behind the frets. I'm guessing most of you guys know that. You're kind of shooting for almost right on top of the fret, right, to get the clearest sound, but it's also where you have to work the least. So physics-wise, if you're this part of the fret, you won't get as good a sound, and it's harder to hold down. If you get closer to the fret, it gets easier. So that's one cool, awesome left-hand tip really quick. Taking an idea and just moving it around. I used to love this kind of thing, like finger walks, inventing finger walks. People call them different things. Ooh, the snake. I'm sure like there's stuff like this all over TikTok, like, ooh, yeah, this is the thing to do to make yourself better. And it's cool. You can just invent them like it's just numbers, like 1, 2, 3, 4. Like, but then what other things? Barring. All right. You'll notice that I'm using this strap. If you're doing traditional classical, I would actually use a footstool, perhaps, to lift the guitar up to a certain angle, or use an A-frame. I love A-frames. A-frames are cool. It's this thing that uses suction cups to go on the side, and you get this angle. Because if you can keep yourself aligned, spinal column aligned, good posture is like what a lot of people say. Although I know there was a certain period in time for me, getting the idea of good posture was really hard. What I think the easiest thing is to stand up. Because you can't have bad posture and be standing. Like if you're able to stand, right? So that could be cool. And if you got a strap, then, and kind of tighten it up a little bit, you can kind of get a good angle. The classical angle I really do like. And the main thing is because of how far you can stretch with it. So with the left hand, for instance, if you're down, when I was a kid, it was always, Metallica. Metallica's still the coolest thing. Right? So I'm the Munson, I'm playing a little bit of Master of Puppets. All right, but that's funny. Go watch Stranger Things. I am that kid, sort of. So when Metallica was the coolest thing, and James Hetfield would always play way down, right? And this is the hardest thing. I can feel it. Like right here, it's like my tendons want to just get stretched out. Like when I'm playing really low. So I can feel the tension. And the main thing with playing is avoid tension, really. You want to find the easiest way, the most relaxed way to do whatever it is you're trying to do, right? Oh my gosh, Colors of the Wind, yes. Oh, who asked for that? Dayun. Oh man, Colors of the Wind. Oh man, I've been meaning to do that one because I feel like my wife has asked for that song so many times. Oh my gosh. And Lucia. Oh, welcome, Lucia. Welcome, oh gosh, how do I say that? Abhav. All right, cool. Welcome everyone. Jack, welcome. All right, cool. Oh, nice song. Yeah, Jack agrees. I also agree. My wife would be like, yes. Why haven't you done that one yet? I don't know, because Disney, for the most part, is very forgiving with covers. Not like the Eagles, just as an aside. Or Supertramp. Avoid Supertramp at all costs. If you post Supertramp, expect to get a copyright strike. You've been warned. All right, cool. Roger Hodgson does not want to give any love to anybody on YouTube. All right, just laying that out there. And yeah, that's not slander, because I've dealt with 2 different copyright strikes from that particular guy because of requests people asked for. So anyway, you can't do everything for everybody. Part of it's copyright. If you ask me for an Eagles song, I'm gonna say no. Just no. Because there's too many people, too many lawyers. They all hate each other. They don't want the fans to play their music. Don't get me wrong. But Supertramp wouldn't happen on my channel. Yeah, exactly. Right? Yeah. I avoid it too. I don't even listen to this stuff anymore. Where were we? I was talking about stuff. Then we ended up with good requests. Oh, left hand tips. All right. So behind the frets. Right? Go up higher if you're trying to start doing some bars. And with the bar thing, you can also like play around with where your thumb's at randomly. There's this cool, awesome concept called a hinge bar where you could bar, for instance, put your thumb to the right, and then you can kind of get the pressure this way instead of like that. You kind of go to the side and twist your wrist. That's a cool tip. That's something I wish I knew, that you can get pressure different ways. Sometimes if you're doing a lot of bar chords, though, the main thing is like just to move something. You need relief, right? It's like, I've been holding this shape forever. Now I'm doing this. Now I'm doing this. Now I'm doing this. My hand's starting to hurt, But you don't want it to hurt. But light strings are the bomb. And that can make left-hand bars really, really easy. I do that with bass, too, actually, which is cool. Like on my double neck that I have, that I don't know if y'all have ever seen me play my double neck, but I took an Ibanez EX series. It was my first electric guitar, and I routed out for a bass neck, stuck a bass on it. And now there's a bass guitar and then a guitar. So I don't know what you call that. You can't call it a bass guitar because it's a bass and a guitar. That's confusing. All right, but anyway, but it's cool. And what I did with the bass strings is I altered the gauges. So normally you'd be buying it and it might be like 180, 60, 40 gauge-wise, like how thick the strings are, right? And the 100 means it's thicker. Just as an aside, if you don't know about bass guitar strings and gauges. So what I do is I'll take the 80 and put it on the E string, and the 60 and put it on the A string, and the 40 and put it on the D string, and then I'll buy a 30 single, like kind of what you would put on a 6-string bass for the C string, and then I'll put that on the G. And it feels like butter. Like kids, man, you swap out those gauges like that, and they will freaking fly on a bass, man, because it doesn't take any pressure at all to hold down the strings anymore. Like, it is the most cool, awesome thing ever. And you can do the same thing with the guitar. Normally with, like if you're playing acoustic, if it's a steel string, there's a type of string called silk and steel. Martin makes them. I don't own a Martin guitar, but I do like the Silken, they're just expensive. If you have a Martin guitar and you want to send me one, send me one. I might play it on the channel or something. If you're with Martin and you want to just sponsor me and just give me a guitar, I might play it. Right now, most of my videos are with Jack Knight's guitar, my friend Jack, who's a local luthier. So I think that's awesome too. I love promoting local luthiers. And handmade guitars are kind of the bomb. They're awesome. And so is Yamaha. This is a Yamaha. They're all wonderful instruments. They're great stuff. And like, it's hard to find one nowadays that's really, really bad because the way technology has advanced things. But so left-hand tips. I'm going way off the topic. I'm just rambling now. But okay, behind the fret as much as you can. Angle, if you can raise up the guitar. Stretches. I was talking about Metallica, and then I got off on a tangent, right? I'm talking to myself. If I had somebody else here, we'd stay more on task, probably. But the stretch thing, this is hard. If you raise this up, then all of a sudden it gets you in a better playing angle, right, with the left hand, and can make it a lot more relaxed. And if you're doing it standing up with a strap, you can get a really good angle. If something's difficult with the left hand in general, if you adjust your angle and raise the head up and look where your thumb's at and get it closer to the pinky especially, like that can make a world of difference. And I immediately think of the Police, because like if you're doing like Every Breath You Take or something, you've got this crazy stretch thing going on. It's really hard. It's impossible for me to do that if I'm down like this. But if I'm up, then I can be cool like Andy Summers and get this awesome like 5, 7, 9 stretch thing going on. And I could probably do something even stupider, right? So down here, I can stretch maybe 5 to 8 or 9, maybe. Like I'm trying real hard. But then if I get the head up and almost go cello position, I can do dumb stretches with the left hand. Right? That's stupid, right? So if you notice anything tricky with the left hand, check your thumb and check your angle, right? So that was one thing I wanted to mention. What was that song? Every Breath You Take, which is also the same chord progression at the beginning as Stand By Me, in the same key even, actually, which is cool. Oh yeah, Yamaha's the bomb, man. I like Yamaha. Yeah. So when the night has come, ooh, and the land is dark, and the moon is the only light we'll see. Right, so singing you can do that way. What was that song? Oh yeah. No, I won't. Oh gosh, I'm stuck in it right now. Be afraid. No, I won't be afraid. But that really helps a lot with those stretches. Just as long as you stand by me. darling, stand. Oh, Private Eye. Oh gosh, is that Golden Earring? No, Private Eyes. That song. They're watching you. Is that the one you're thinking of, Jack? Who does that song? Oh, Private Eye. All right, let me write it down. But yeah, that's a weird thing. If you are doing requests, like make sure you give me an artist too. Because which state do I live in? Oh man, I live in South Carolina, which is a really strange place. It was really cold, then it was warm, then it was cold, then it was warm. Man, this is but my dad said yes. Okay, cool. Private Eyes. They're watching you. All right, cool. Oh man, I will jot that on the list. It's probably already on the list too, somewhere. But this is good because if you keep reminding me, eventually, Hall & Oates. Yeah, ooh, Minnesota Mark. Oh my gosh, man, thanks for helping me build the state, man. It's great to see you here. Oh my gosh, I tried that lick a lot when I played the F sharp minor. It's really hard. It is. Now, the other thing you could do to make that easier, Dayun. All right, cool. Hey, Mark. Hall & Oates. I may have a chart for that, too. Actually, we should go look on Pinterest. I've forgotten what I have charts for people because, like, people ask for them. I write them out. I stick them on Pinterest. Don't think about them for 7 or 8 years. Who knows? But F sharp minor. All right, so the other thing you could do, Dayun, if you want to make guitar easier, is you could get a smaller guitar. Right now I'm playing on a full size, but like one of my favorite guitars to play around the shop is an Ibanez Micro, which is a 3/4 size electric. And so if you got an Ibanez Micro and you put 8 gauges on it, like what does that be, like Super Slinkies, like Ernie Ball Super Slinkies, like the blue pack. If you put those on that guitar, man, it would be like the easiest thing to play in the whole world. Good morning. That's right. See. So I just think that would be really cool. And that stretch, this is the trickiest one for that song anyway. Because you're going 2nd fret on the low E, 4th fret on the A, and then 6th fret on the D. That's kind of crazy. But if I've got a higher head angle though, I can almost make another fifth, which is stupid, right? Now I'm going 2, 4, 6, 8. What? That's dumb. You know, not that I would want to do this consistently in a song, because hitting it consistently would be hard. I did do that at one point. Actually, I wrote a song with this beautiful chord. It was an A major 7, and I did it with a piano voicing root 3, 5, 7. Beautiful chord. A, C sharp, E, G sharp. 5, 4, 2, 1, right? But this stretch is really hard, and if you're trying to do it from down here, it's impossible. Like, you've got to get the head angle going on to get it to work. But doing great work. Oh, thanks, man. From Aurora. Oh gosh, right on. I had a friend of mine named Nitin Aurora at one point. Then he went crazy. I guess he feels the same way about me there. Let's see. C sharp minor bar 2, and then off on white. Oh yeah. The F sharp. Is that what you're talking about, Renee? Like for White Rabbit. Yeah, that F sharp thing. Oh, are you thinking? Let's see. Oh no, yeah. I mean that's how that chord progression works. So that would be a good one to work on bars for sure. And with the bar, you'd want to try and get your finger lined up straight up with the bar, or with the fret, as much as you can. There's some silly exercises you could do too. I know I'm going off on left-hand tangents here, big time. Alvarez, heck yeah, man. Deja, ooh yeah, man. Dude, I learned so much from you. I was cutting my heck yeah, man. Thanks for coming in. Welcome to everybody who's joining us live here. Circus Brains, Alvarez, Parlor, yeah, man. Like, Circus Brains has got it, man. The Parlor guitars are smaller too, and Taylor makes some really nice ones too. Taylor Swift has a signature 3/4 size or something that's a Taylor, haha. But one of my students has this is a beautiful guitar, and it's our hardwood, and it's a matte finish, which so when you. Oh gosh, I wanted to fill everybody's heads full of everything all at once, and I really should go, wait. I need to talk about one thing at a time. But a matte finish basically means, like, most guitars will have a gloss on it, right, on the top. It'll be shiny. Shiny! Oh, the top of my guitar's got some gloss. And so when they do that, what it does is it weighs the top down. Like, the way a guitar actually kind of works as a machine is you have wood, right? A wood top here. Sometimes on cheaper guitars, beginner guitars, normally it's what do they call it? It's plywood, but they call it something else. Anyway, you know what I'm saying. But it still makes a difference actually. Like, so the main thing is, like, you've got this top that vibrates, right, with the strings to amplify it, sort of, and then you got your box, right. And then you got your sides, and you got all this stuff. All right, but the thing is, like, if you put gloss or paint on an acoustic guitar or an acoustic instrument, period, like, what it does is it weighs the top down. And when you weigh the top down, it can't vibrate as much. And when it can't vibrate as much, it's not as loud. And it doesn't sound as good either. So you don't get as much tone out of it. So if you're looking at instruments and you see one that doesn't have the gloss on it, right, more like a plain wood finish, normally they're louder guitars and they sound great, right, especially if it's a hardwood, randomly, like a cedar top or a spruce top, or yeah, you should go check those out. So look for that, because I'm a sucker for cedar matte finishes myself. But let's see. Oh, got other stuff coming in. All right, Dave, I wish I had much money to buy some high quality instruments. Oh man, me too. That's cool. Actually, all the instruments that I play with on the channel are basically introductory beginner instruments on purpose. Well, sort of. Like, I can't afford a really nice. The only one that's really expensive is, like, the handmade one that I bought from Jack. I paid $700 for that, and it was worth every penny. It should have been more than that, I'm sure. Like, for the amount of time he put into it. Oh, laminate top. Thank you, Jack. Yes, a laminate top. A laminate top guitar is plywood. And what that means is that it's whatever it sounds like today, that's what it's going to sound like forever. If you're lucky, if it doesn't get destroyed somehow. Which, they're good instruments, don't get me wrong. Like, almost all the ones that I think, gosh, we sell a ton of them, and you could say Fender on the top and be a laminate top at this point. Like, man, the companies are just selling their name at this point. So you'll see, like, laminate tops by every brand in the world. But thank you, Jack. That's exactly what I was thinking of. Laminate top guitar is the plywood. Let's see what else is coming in question wise. Let's see. My Little Pacos from. Oh yeah, 3/4 man, 3/4 size guitars are awesome. So if you want to make the left hand easier with stretches, buy a smaller guitar, right? Or buy a smaller ukulele, or buy a smaller instrument. Period. Let's see. Have you dunked a soccer ball or a basketball? Man, no. I don't think I'm that tall. Yeah, I ended up with my mom's side of the family's height, so I'm like 5'11". My dad's the one who's like 6'4" or whatever, and or 6'7" or my dad's tall, man. Anyway, he used to play basketball in the church league. I don't know if he ever dunked a ball either, but he probably would be like, "What are you talking about? I don't even remember doing that at this point." But he's my hero. My dad is I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for my dad either, or my whole family really being supportive of the music thing. So thank you, family. Thank you, friends. Thank you, everybody who keeps me going day to day. Trying to think other things. We were talking about left hand tips, right? Bullet form, right? Behind the fret. We talked about I remember where I was going with left hand stuff. And you should check out the left hand tips video because it probably is a better guide to all this stuff, But this is all stuff that I really wish I did know when I started. Light strings, small guitars, angle, strap, stand up for good posture. But other left hand things. I was thinking about, you can take all these things, whatever it is you're working on the instrument for the hands, dexterity wise, and invent things that you can do other places, like in work or while you're driving. You know what I mean? So one silly thing I do with beginner students especially, and I used to really harp on this a lot, is an exercise I call wiggles. And what you do is you wiggle the first finger, ha ha ha, and you wiggle 2, and you wiggle 3, and you wiggle 4. We could do this as a group thing. It'd be cool. All right, and then you can wiggle like 1 and 2, 1 2 1 2, and then you can do 1 and 3, and you 1 and 4, right? And you wiggle 2 and 3. And when you're doing this, you're practicing the thought, right, to move the finger right. 2 4. You do 3 and 4, right? Oh, cool. Then you could try it. But you could do this on a steering wheel. You know what I mean? As you're driving, 1 2 1 2. I know it's silly, but you're practicing thought, move, finger kind of thing. And you're taking it apart. So you can do the same kind of thing for a couple of other left-hand things too. One is if you're working on bars, and just as an aside, because I always think of that as like, this is the doorway to intermediate chord stuff, because then you can play every chord in the whole universe, because I'm not stuck on E anymore. I can play F or F sharp or G or G sharp or A sharp or B or C sharp, D or D sharp, So there's this silly thing I call finger yoga. Oh gosh, I'm around, man, dude, you are tall, dude. You can dunk a soccer ball? What? That's wild and crazy, man. I need to go practice. I got on the trampoline the other day, and that was fun. But I normally do like more for exercise. I have my friend Randolph who beats me up for personal training stuff, and we jump rope and we lift weights. And then I've been doing a lot of Wing Chun with my friend Eric out at his house at Stony Hill Martial Arts. Go check them out; they're cool. Eric does Aikido, and then he does Wing Chun. On the topic of left hand stuff and moving fingers and stuff, so you could take the bar thing, for instance, right? You could put your hand in the air, and then you could take a finger and then run it like, okay, so this is your bar. You're trying to keep it as flat as possible, right? You're driving down the road. Watch the road! All right, so you could take 2 and you could go over the top of the finger. This is the position you have to do when you're doing a bar chord, right? It's like, I got to keep this flat and then this way. So you're stretching the fingers. I call this finger yoga, although it's not yoga. If it was yoga, you'd be like, and hold it, right? But but I didn't know how you do yoga. I was just this is just a name for something, man. All right, cool. So you could do like the finger yoga this way. Then you could take this finger just for fun and try and keep it flat and move 3 over the top. I can feel it though. This is a good tendon stretch, right? And if you did this all the time, just for fun, right? And then this. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I think I used to probably call this finger puppets also, because it reminds me of that little shadow thing you do where you make the dog with the flashlight, and you're like, oh yeah. So maybe finger puppets is a better name for this instead of finger yoga, because you're actually trying to do the stretch, right? I don't know. Yoga's also stretchy, right? I don't do yoga. You guys do yoga? Yoga's good. Yeah, let's go do yoga. All right, so, but anyway, that's another thing you could do, is you could try and invent an exercise, right, for yourself to work your fingers a different way, or practice, a weird, strange movement. Air strokes, actually finger style. Actually, I normally, you can do the same thing with the other hand. If you're doing finger style stuff and you're doing like fine motor skills, I used to call this zombie hand, right? And if you're interested in doing more finger style stuff, or banjo players that are out there who are stuck on doing rolls, you got to do your rolls, right? Got to do your forward roll. It's thumb, index, middle. That's forward roll. Thumb, index, middle. So you could practice the strokes in the air, right? And the main thing with that, angle-wise, and this is all stuff that I wish I knew when I started, because I ended up doing a lot of finger style there, is if you can get all your joints, for instance, like with finger style stuff, to move in the same direction. This is like a physics thing. So if in physics you have these things called vectors. If you guys remember vectors, I don't know. I took physics once in high school. That was a long time ago. But if you move something, bam, right? There's these vectors that are like lines that represent force and direction. Okay, so if I do this, for instance, like a pluck thing, and sometimes you want to do that. Don't get me wrong. No matter what you're doing, main thing is to be relaxed. All right, because if you're working too hard, that's where bad things might happen to your fingers. Oh gosh, welcome 152, new from Thailand. Oh my gosh, man, we are going all around the globe here. Right on. Can I play an Indonesian song? I could write out the chords. I get requests for songs, in other languages, and I have a lot of Spanish songs randomly on my Pinterest. Like, I think the only Spanish song I have posted right now is Despacito. But although I've been meaning to do La Bamba for freaking years, I'm gonna write it down on my list, right? Because we're taking requests. But anyway, and I have a how to play on that one. But that's a good question. Like, if you ask for the question, Rafi, like, I could try and write out the chord progression. And so, I read all the comments on all my videos. But YouTube is really bad about letting me know if you comment on me commenting on your comment. So if you make a new comment, no matter what, and this, I'm sure they do this on every channel. So if you want to be noticed, don't keep on, there's no conversation threads the way that my YouTube experience happens anyway. So you just want new comment. But we were talking, left hand, or right hand. We were talking right hand finger style, randomly, vector lines, right? Got to go back to work. Oh, right, man, blessings, Jack. Thanks for coming, man. Appreciate it. Oh, man, I hope you have a great day, man. All love. Woo! All right, cool. So vector lines, you have one by Selena. Oh, I do. I've got some Selena Gomez up. Now charts, I've got mariachi charts, but like there's a ton because I had my student Julio used to ask for tons. We'd pick out like 3 or 4 songs at a sitting. Man, there's got to be at least 100 different. There's a Spanish version of what's that one from The Greatest Showman? It's beautiful. Rewrite the Stars. There's a Spanish version of that's up on my channel. And Despacito is the only one that I actually tried to sing Spanish because everybody in my house was singing all this Spanish stuff all the time. And I'm sure I do an awful job of it. But I really look forward to going to Munson Music Jam, communicating Spanish, just to practice my Spanish. Oh, yeah, man, Spanish. Hola, ¿cómo estás? Muy bien. It's a beautiful day. But I was talking about vector lines. All right, so when you move something, a finger, right? There are these little lines that represent direction and force. So, like, if I'm moving this way as a pluck, although you may do that for sound, I've got one vector line that would be going in this direction for that joint. This joint's going that way. This joint's going that way, right? So this one's going that way. This one's going that way, and this one's going that way. So it's not unified force if you're doing this kind of movement randomly. But if you do this kind of thing and you think of the knuckle joint making the stroke for you and the other, guys just kind of moving, like that can be a really cool way to do it. I know that this may be a little weird to see, but rather than this, right, you're trying to go for like through the strings kind of thing. Anyway, so that could be really cool too, E2! Oh, and me, oh, gracias. But I would think about like just moving. You could do this kind of thing anywhere, right? You could go, okay, I'm just going to practice my thumb stroke going down the road, or my index stroke, in the air. Yeah, and you could do the same kind of thing as the wiggles. I'm moving my fingers. You could also do. My professor Chris Berg at USC used to do these things where he would show chord shapes in the air. Randomly. Now I've switched hands, but you know what I mean? It's like you could imagine G, E minor, C, D, for forms, which is a mental thing, it's the shape. You're trying to, especially when you're first starting, you're really trying to memorize the shape. So even though you don't have a guitar, you may know what the G shape is for your instrument, or the E minor shape, or the C, or the A, or the D, or the E. So like it's a mental thing too, right? You can practice in your head. You don't necessarily need your instrument. So you can be, and I'll do that a good bit actually. Like if I'm on a road trip and I'm going down the highway, I'll be like, oh yeah, that song, da da da, and I will just play it in my head and have the chords going on. And you guys probably do that too, right? So it's more a mental thing. Chris Berg used to call it visualization, right? But the idea is like mentally practicing. And actually, Dae-Yoon was just mentioning basketball. Chris Berg used to tell this cool story about how they did a test in a basketball team, and they took half the team and they let them just sit over in the corner and imagine shooting 3-point shots. And they took the other half and they let them go and try and shoot 3-point shots from the 3-point line. And then they got them together after they did that for like half an hour, and then they let them do it. And the ones who imagined shooting them shot better than the people who did shoot it. And the main thing behind it would be like, you're imagining a perfect shot every time, and you know what that feels like already. You may be able to do that really well. The other guys are missing it, hitting it, missing it, hitting it. So it's kind of like, oh, I don't know if I can do it this time. Am I going to get lucky like the last time? You know, so there's this doubt, right, going on. And I think music, especially in my experience, really can help build confidence in general. It's like we're not really learning just the instrument. You're learning, you know, about yourself. You're learning how to be confident in you know, new situations and that kind of thing. There's a lot of stuff going on there. So Dayoon, I was really good at 3-pointers, but I got taller. So right on, man. Cool, right on. So you know how that feels like when you shoot a 3-point shot. So it's the same kind of, and you also play a lot of music, so you know what that feels like too. So now that you know what that experience is, you can imagine it in your head, and it's almost as good as practicing it. Now, my whole thing normally is you should go home and practice, and then after you practice, think about practicing, and don't forget to practice. And if you practice before you go to sleep, you might dream about practicing, which is like practicing without practicing, but then you should wake up and practice. But practice is just play your guitar, right? Or play your instrument, or fool around with it. It doesn't necessarily have to mean like you've got to do this regime. It could be like, I'm just going to mess around a little bit and see what comes out. You know, and sometimes you'll like stumble upon, you know, 3 chords you really like and go, I'm going to write a song now. But let's see, what do we got? Tammy says, any tips for memorizing the fretboard and learning triads on the top 3 strings? That's a really good question. First of all, normally what I would do, if you know, because that's a really good question. I feel like the main triads would be the major and minor, right? Unless, you know, at least that's a good place to start. I should say that's the place to start. So what I would do, first of all, is I would make sure that you got a good handle on chromatic scale. And I think that goes back to like everything as far as the fretboard goes. I'm going to probably talk too much right now. But so you can take the E string, for instance, and you can make yourself call out the notes on the E string. And I like to do this with sharps up, flats down. I know I've got a couple videos where I do this, but just really quick, you could go E, F, F sharp, E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A sharp, B, C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, right? Oh, and my whole spiel on that would be like, all right, there's this thing called the chromatic scale. Chroma means color, scale means ladder, or to measure. So this is the rainbow scale. You play every single fret, right? So in music, we use the first 7 letters of the alphabet, A, B, C, D, F, G, and then it starts over again, A, B, C, D, F, G, A, B, C, D, F, G, A, B, C, D, F, G, A, B, C, D, F, G. And then we have these things called sharps and flats, just to go over this really quick, right? So what a sharp is if you go up 1 fret. So if this is an F, and I go over to the 2nd fret, we call that F sharp. So if this is a G on 3rd fret, and you go to 4th fret, we call that G sharp. If we go to A, right, on the 5th fret, because after G you go back to A, and then you got A sharp. Then there's 2 magic notes. E's go to F's, and B's go to C. So that's where all that was coming from. I feel like I just jumped into that way too fast. But if we go all the way up the fretboard, one more time, sorry, E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A sharp, B, C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E. There's also these things called flats, and what a flat is if you subtract a fret, right? So we got E, and if you go down to 11th fret, that would be an E flat. If C is on 10th fret and you go down to 9th fret, that's a D flat, right? C just goes down to B, but then you got B going down to B flat, and you got A going to A flat, and you got G, and then G flat, and then you got F, and then you're back to E. So just as an aside, that would be a really good thing to know, and the first step to knowing the fretboard really well. Now, that order never changes, and so if you go to another string, like if you go to the B string, for instance, then you just start on the B note. So now you got B, C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A sharp, B, and if you bring it down, B, B flat, A flat, G, G flat, F, E, E flat, D, D flat, C, B. Now, I'm making myself call this out, too. And you should, too. Because if you play the note and you have to say it, and this is the coolest thing about playing guitar, because I played trombone in a band. You can't talk to yourself while you're playing trombone because you got to vibrate this air column thing. So it's a cool thing to be able to talk to yourself while you're playing guitar. It's awesome. And so you can use that as a teaching thing. That's something else I wish I learned when I first started, right? Is that I can talk to myself, and I can, if I say it out loud, then I have to hear myself say it. That helps reinforce it. I'm doing it. I have to think about it. It's all these different ways to reinforce it. So you could do that on every string, right? You were talking about the top 3 strings, so I'll just do the top 3 strings. So if I go to G, I go G, G sharp A sharp B, C, C sharp D, D sharp E, F, F sharp G, G, G flat F, E, E flat D, D flat C, B, B flat A flat G. Now what I think I would do is I would start with chord shapes that you know. And I know for me, randomly, one chord, the first chord that I really started moving around a lot on the top 3 strings was the D, because it already occupies the top 3 strings. And I know that's silly, but with the D chord, you're working off the B string for the root of the chord, right? Every chord has what's called the root. So the root of a D is a D note, the root of an E is an E note, the root of a G is a G note, the root of a C is a C note, the root of an E minor is an E note, right? So if you're on the D, right, the D note is actually on the B string on the 3rd fret. And you can move this chord shape with chromatic scale. Cool, and this would cover at least part of what your question is. So you got D there, D sharp, right? If I move it over 1, E major. Oh, that's cool. That's a new way to play E. Same notes as my E major there, but now I'm using a D shape here, right? If I go over another fret, that's a F, F sharp, G, right? G sharp, A sharp, and then B, and then C, and then C sharp, and then D. All right, cool. So you can take a shape that you already know and then start moving it around. For me, what used to help me really know these really well is take a chord, like a song, and then try and play it with this scenario, like using the chord shape. So for instance, I might have like Dreams immediately comes to mind by Fleetwood Mac, right? Because you got 2 chords in the whole song, F and then G, right? So, and I'm using the F major 7. I mentioned it earlier. I'm gonna harp on it. I really wish that I knew that chord when I first started. It would have made my life so much easier. So for this scenario with the D chord, you could take the D on 5 and 6 and then slide, but it's not the D anymore, it's F. Whoa. And then you can slide it over 2 frets, and then that's the G. So that's kind of cool to be able to, like, you know, you could add in stuff too if you're backing up somebody, you know, in an open mic night situation, or if you're just jamming with the recording, or you're jamming with me on the YouTube, right? You can make up arpeggios on that, where you may break up the chords, and that would be kind of cool, you know. It's like instant lead guitar part that just sounds awesome, right? Because what we're doing is playing the same notes as the chord, right? So we're just reinforcing things that are already going on. That's the easiest lead ever. And then Leon says something. What does Leon see? Just subbing. Oh man, thanks for subbing, man. Getting farther and farther. I don't know the reason. Well, oh dude, Dayun, keep growing, man. Keep growing. Keep drinking that milk, dude. Like for real. Be tall. See, be a tall man, because you are a tall man. Because man, you pump me up too. So Leon, I have a similar question. I can play anything on the low E string just by ear, but I can't find or memorize others or find chords by ear. Huh? How can I improve it? All right. So that, all right. So hopefully that kind of answered a little bit of was it Tammy asking for the tips of memorizing? So I would do chromatic scale, take shapes you know and move them around. Just to go over that really quick before I take on Leon's question. So with the D chord, there's your major shape. All right. If you want the minor shape, which is half of this sort of, because you can have a root on 1 of 3 strings, so you've got 3 different major shapes. And then you got 3 different minor shapes. So you're really only talking about 6 shapes, Tammy, like when you're talking like, how do I move these shapes around? It's just knowing chromatic scales like number 1, primo. All right, but D major, right, D minor, right, would be the 2 of the shapes. So that knocks out 2 of the 6, right, if you know this guy and you know this guy. So if we took the D as an example, D major, for instance, we could get the other shapes. So D major, like, right, is that shape 2 on the G, 2 on the high E, 3 on the B string, working off the B string for the root. So that's the note that you're working off of, or where the D note is that you're working off of. The next D major shape on these 3 strings, you would put your first finger on the high E on the 5th fret, 7th fret on the G, and then 7th fret on the B. That is another D, F sharp, A, another D chord. And you could actually play it with the open D. If you did drop D, you could get like low D, which would be really crazy. But anyway, that's your D major shape, or your next D major shape. It's actually a part of the A major shape. You'll see all these videos like the caged method and we could go into octave shapes and all that stuff. But let's avoid that right this second. I want to get to Leon's question. So, bams. All right, cool. So this is a little piece of the A major shape randomly for the D on 5 and 7. So 5, 7, 7 from the high E is that next D shape. The minor shape randomly is like a little diagonal, which is kind of a little piece of like an A minor shape. So this is an A minor with a human bar. I'm talking too much, man. I love theory, man. You get me off on the theory tangent, I'll sit here all day and talk, but I can't because I gotta I gotta go eat lunch at some point. But D minor, right, is that 5, 6, 7, right? So you got D major, D minor. Oh, and you can do the Thus Spoke Zarathustra from 2001 with that randomly. Major minor, major minor. That's cool. Yeah. You know what I'm talking about? The 2001 thing? Anyway, all right, the only other shape that you have to worry about. So you got D major, D minor there. You got that 5, 7, 7, and then 5, 6, 7, randomly for the D minor. And then the last one would be taking the high E on the 10th fret for the root. So you got 10, 10 on the B string, and then you got 11 on the G string. This is a little piece of the E major bar shape, randomly. And then that's the major. Your minor is that, like 10, 10, 10, which is cool. Bum, 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 bum. Major, minor, major, minor, major, minor, kind of thing. So if you know those are the 6 shapes, and then you just move them around chromatic scale. So I hope that answered your question, Tammy. Yeah. Oh gosh, I just talked too much. Let me see if I can catch up on comments. All right, cool. Damien is still growing, man. Keep drinking that milk, man. All right, so Leon, let's see. I have a similar question. I can play anything on the low E string just by ear. So I'm guessing you're talking about melody. Right, like Smoke on the Water or something, right? But you may be asking a deeper question than that. I feel like you are. Just by ear, but I can't find or memorize others or find chords by ear. Right on. How can I improve it? Main thing for me, I think, with oh, cool, it did. Tammy, thank you. Awesome, cool. So practice all those, and everybody should go and practice those 6 shapes. 6 shapes for the top 3 strings. Cool. So one thing. All right. So my friend Kevin Flowers, he once told me, "Hey, man." Well, actually, no, Pascal. Now you can play it on any string. Now we're talking low E string, right? And now that can be confusing. I consider the low E string the thickest one because of the way it sounds. I also consider what I just did going up the neck and not down the neck because I'm following the sound. So if that's confusing to you, I have students that is confusing to because they think of this being the low E because it's nearer to the ground. Just be aware of that. All right. So anyway, but anyway, I think that's what you're kind of talking about is like picking out melodies, right, Leon? So, but in moving it to other strings would kind of relate to chromatic scale too. So, I used to do this a lot when I first started playing because it would be like, yeah, man, I really want to be the cool guy on the block, and there's this riff in my head, and so you can go and find one of these 12 notes, right, to match whatever melody you're trying to pick out. And Smoke on the Water just immediately comes to mind because Jack Black does this in School of Rock. If you guys are familiar with that movie. He doesn't play Smoke on the Water in Deep Purple's key, which is G minor, like on the middle 2 strings. He does it on the low E string, so he just, to make it sound thicker, right? He just goes 0, 3, 5, 0, 3, 6, 5, 0, 3, 5, 3, 0, which is the same pattern. I mean, and it sounds like Smoke on the Water, and everybody go, oh man, he knows how to play Smoke on the Water, even though that's just part of the song, right? But the riff, man. Melody. Okay, cool. We're on the same page then, Leon. Yeah, awesome. All right, so one thing you could do, and this seems like it kind of relates to octaves randomly. So you're talking about moving it to other strings too. So what you could do is, oh no, your battery's dying. No, oh damn it, no, don't let the battery die. Right. Well, hey, thanks for coming tuning in. This has been fun. I'm definitely going to think about doing this again at some point. Maybe like once a month. This would be a cool thing just to answer questions and stuff. Awesome. So picking out melodies by ear, I used to be all into that, Leon, like the bomb, right? Because like whatever the cool thing is on the radio, or another one bites the dust or something, the riff stuff. It's like, and then the low E string is a good reference point. I feel like what could be cool is trying to figure out how far away you're going, and that would be the trick to moving it to other strings. If you knew the names of the notes, that for me that was kind of a game changer because then I'd be like, okay, well, if Smoke on the Water is an example, like that's the E, that's the G, that's the A, right? It's the 0, 3, 5, and the other note that I'm working with is a B flat note. That's the 6th fret on the low E. So the riff is going E, G, A, E, G, B flat, A, E, G, A, G, E. Because then you could go, all right, well, it starts on an E note because I'm working off the low E string. So if you know chromatic scale, right, I'm going to be like, hey, man, everybody needs to go practice their chromatic scale. All right, so everybody go practice your chromatic scale. All right, you got the A sharp, B, C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E on the A string, right, which is the 7th fret. So if you do the same pattern from there, you could suddenly have it move to another string, which would be cool. Now you're going to be moving it, what, 7, 10, 12, 7, 10, 13, 12, 10, or 7, 10, 12, 10, 7 will get you those same notes. So that would be super, super cool. And you could do that for all the strings, Leon, if that makes sense. But you had another part to your question too. So you could use chromatic scale. Oh, somebody's tell me lies, finger picking. Tell me lies, tell me sweet. All right, sorry. I feel like I need to take a second and just read all these other comments. All right, can I do finger style? Hey, Steven, it's great to see you. I can. Actually, there's a finger style crash course that I have up on the YouTube. If you've not hit any of the crash courses for your particular instrument, I would go and investigate those, because I feel like a lot of the concepts I was just talking about, like, would be in some of those videos, and they're not that long. They're maybe 15 or 20 minutes randomly. And they go over a lot of stuff, like a lot of stuff. So, Steven, you may want to check that out. Like, if you did a search on Google or on YouTube and went Munson fingerstyle crash course, that would give a bunch. We were talking about doing air strokes earlier too, with left hand and right hand tips and stuff. I wish I knew when I started. So absolutely, we can do some fingerstyle, man. And I have a lot of fingerstyle covers up of every song randomly. And there's over 1,000 songs on Munson covers now. Yay! I actually have no idea how many songs it is. I just know that it's over 1,000. Can you also play bass notes on ukulele? You can play bass notes on ukulele. Like I said, there's only 12 notes, so you can take any of those 12 notes and play them on any instrument that you want, except for maybe the dulcimer, because it doesn't have all those notes, because they put the frets in weird, and then harmonica would be kind of a weird deal, because you couldn't play every note on a harmonica if it's a diatonic harmonica. All right, cool. Man, I'm going to bring my guitar right now. Man, go get your guitar, man. All right, and then Tammy says, it did. All right, cool, because man, I'm glad that helped with the chord shapes, because that was a really good question. And then Leon, I was in the middle of answering your question, then I see a bunch of other like really cool stuff going on here. I just wrote down the Tell Me Lies, going to put that in the request book. Stay safe, take care. Oh man, Brian, it's good to see you, man. Thanks for tuning in. Yes, melody, high and low, single string melodies. Okay, high and low single string melodies. Yeah. That's what I was talking about, Leon. So you'd be trying to find, like where those notes are. If you've got a chromatic scale down, then like what really helped me actually was just having a reference point on each string. So for instance, you could go, okay, if I'm working off the low E string or the high E string, right? It might be really useful if I know where the other E notes are on each string, right? So like you got the open string that's E, you got 12th fret on the E that's also E. If you go to the A string, it's 7th fret, which is cool. If you go to the D string, E note is 2nd fret. If you go to the G string, it's 9th fret. If you go to the B string, it's on 5th fret. And then you're back to the high E, and you got the open E, and then you got the 12th fret E. Randomly, there's this cool thing. I'm trying to think if I have a video up of this. It must be in like the Mastering Guitar with Little Wing video, because that thing is nuts stupid. If you really want to get into more theory stuff, I don't know if you'd be able to take that video on, but that's a really good one to check out, even just briefly, because it covers like dumb stuff theory-wise. So you may want to check that out. Mastering Little Wing, or Mastering Guitar with Little Wing. I have this nuts video. But I'm sure at some point in that video, I hope, I talk about this thing I call baseball octaves. And I'm still kind of talking to Leon and trying to answer your question about melodies and like where, you'd move it to other strings. But if you have those reference points, right, the open 12 E, 7th fret on the A, 2nd fret on the D, 9th fret on the G, 5th fret on the B, open E, 12th fret on E, right? You could do this cool, awesome thing I call baseball octaves, where you could take the 12th fret on the low E. Maybe this is a better thing to do on electric, but 14 on the D is also an E note. And I call the 12th fret one, because it's on the low E string, I call that home base. Like I'm thinking baseball diamond here. All right, cool. Then if you go to the D string on the 14, I call that first bass. If you go to the high E on the 12, I call that second bass. And randomly the G string on the 9, I would call third bass. And from there you could go back to the low E on the 12. And I would call that running around the basses. So you got E, 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 E. And you got this little diamond. And you just figured out where 4 E's are on 4 different strings, right, out of 6. Which is cool, just by doing that one thing. It's like, oh, I can start that. you know, that riff from this E. Or I could start from this one. Or I can start from this one. So now I'm also showing you this lick in the wrong key. Oh man, let's all learn Smoke on the Water and Jack Black key. I do have an E minor chart on Pinterest if you want to play that song with easy chords. But cool, man, awesome. So that's part of the just it's octave shapes is what it is. Like I'm gonna go find all the E's in the universe so I know them really well, so I can just take that melody and move whatever it is to another string. You know, that's a good starting place, I think. Randomly, the other two strings I call left field and right field. So if you go like E on the 12, right, D string on the 14, that's first bass. If you go to first base, then you can go to the B string on, gosh, this would be like ridiculously high on the 17th fret on the B string. I normally don't do this for E. I normally do it for A, but anyway. That's the one I call left field. And then if you go from the B string 17 to the A string 19, some of your guitars may not have this many frets, but you can also move this down. If you minus 12 frets, you're on the same note. So there's E on the B string on the 5th, E on the A string on the 7th. Cool. And then we got the E string on the 7 to the G string on the 9, and then it just starts all over again. So I think no matter what instrument, if you just like go and try and figure out how to get from, you know, go find one note on every string, and that'll give you a good reference point for that. But then you also had another part of your question, Leon, and let me see if I got anybody else jumping in with, can I teach you Master of Puppets? Man, I'm telling you, man, there's no easy way to learn that. What I would do is go, what I'm trying to do normally is I'm trying to teach skills so that you know what to do. So Daeyoon, you got skills, you know how to read tab, all right? But the weird thing about Master of Puppets is you got James's part and you're going to have Kirk's part. And all Metallica is going to be like that, so you're going to have to pick and choose like whether you want to play James's part or Kirk's part. And I would normally start with James's part, all right, and then add Kirk's part. Yeah. So, but yeah, man, I do have a chart for Master of Puppets, and with some of the riffs, where I picked them out by year, but other references, and I did mean to mention these actually, things I wish I knew when I started. When I started, you couldn't just go, I want to hear this song and put it into the internet because we didn't have the internet yet. You had to go and buy these things called albums and then try and pick out stuff by ear. And I have spent money, good money, actually, on to go buy the record to listen to the song that somebody wanted to learn for their next lesson. You know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, here's $20 for the lesson. Thanks. And I go, okay, cool. Hey, I want to learn this song for next time. Okay, cool. Well, the only way for me to go and hear that song to pick it out to teach it to you is to go buy the album, and the album would be like $10. And you'd be like, oh, man. Or $20 for the CD or whatever, you know. So, anyway. But that's one thing that's really cool, the time that we're living in. You have to, on your question, Daeyoon, about Master of Puppets, you can go listen to Master of Puppets. You can go to YouTube on the gear wheel thing. You can slow it down to listen to the riffs and try and pick it out more by ear, which is a new, cool, awesome, different thing. You can go find Guitar Pro tabs, and I would definitely recommend Guitar Pro tabs if you're familiar with them. A lot of it you can kind of like see on the website, so you don't have to give them any money. You can probably like go Master of Puppets, Guitar Pro tab, and then it'll bring up something on a web page, and you go, oh, let me go check that out, and you can go, you know, scroll through it, change the parts like over on the left. So if you're not familiar with Guitar Pro tabs and you play guitar, go check it out. You can go find guitar chord charts like mine, the Pinterest thing. All my charts are free. They're up on Pinterest. I would recommend. People ask me if I sell a book, and I don't sell a book. All my stuff is up for free. So go steal it. Go steal it all and put it in a gig book for yourself. So yeah, that's a really good question. So I mean, I can teach you Master of Puppets, and I have worked with private students that way, but it would just take way too much time to shoot a how to play and then do titles for it. That would be a monstrosity to walk you through every single lick there. Well, your best bet there is like, if you know how to read tab, go find the tabs for it, you know. If although I do have a chord chart, which is ridiculous to look at too, but it's very helpful actually. I really like the one-page charts. I think most of y'all probably know that because you'll see the links in the video descriptions. So all right, cool. Oh yeah, right on. All right, so there was another thing I wanted to talk to Leon about because another part of his question was like the chord thing, and I think for me like the more you practice your chords, the more you get used to what they sound like randomly. I've definitely been in a lot of gigs where people will ask for a song like, hey man, do you know Duh? You know, and you're like, oh man, I've heard that song on the radio, but I don't know how to play it. And like, sometimes you got a good sense of like what the chord progression is from listening to the song to be able to fake it, right? with the chords. So even just knowing the chords a lot in one key, I think can help with that, Leon. So randomly, if I was going to go over all the chords in one key, like G major is my go-to because I love the key of G. I'm prejudiced. I love G. So G major is the one chord in the key of G. Other chords you may end up seeing in this particular key, and this is relating to major scale, and you don't have to know that. Actually, I just taught a lot of theory, so now I'm mentioning another thing called a major scale. But if I build chords out of this scale, G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G, you build chords in thirds. If G is number one, G, A, B is what we call the third. C, D is what we call the fifth. So if I play a G and a B and a D note, and I play some more G's and B's and maybe another G note, that's where that G major comes from. You don't have to know that necessarily, but what you will see is a lot of songs, if you start on a G chord, you may see an A minor chord, you may see a B minor chord, you may see a C chord, you may see a D chord, you may see an E minor chord, and there's also this nasty chord called F sharp diminished that's basically like a D7 chord without the D. So that would be all the chords in the key of G. So if you're trying to fake stuff or get used to like what the sound of chords are randomly, that's a good thing to know. If you're going to write songs, it's good to know that those chords kind of ride together too. They're like a little family of chords. There's Papa chord, and then there's a little son chord, and then little daughter chord, and there's Mama chord, and there's Grandpa chord, you know, and then there's the sad nephew who lives with us chord, and then there's the nasty guy who's got to go somewhere, you know, and then you got to bail him out of jail and he gets back home, right? So, but if you know those chords, that can really help trying to figure out, you know, how you're going to play stuff too, because you may find a chord chart that you want to change the chords on too. You'll be like, man, I don't want to play that nasty chord, you know, with C sharp minor, you know, with a sharp something, I don't care, you know. So I like writing charts and triads because then you can scale things up and scale things down, you know. So you'd be like, G major 7, I might just play G. D7, I might just play D. C major 9, I might just play C. B minor 7, I might just play B minor. Maybe I see, I don't know, a C sharp minor 7 with a flat 5 and go, you know, that's really close to an A7 chord. I guess I'll just play A. You know, so you can change some chords to make it easier for sure. What else have we got? Oh gosh, man, and welcome all the other people I'm seeing messages from now. So you are awesome, man. Very informative stuff. Awesome, man. Cool. I'm here to help. And really, that's my main thing is to try and help. The guitar saved my life at one point. I've had some moments of depression. I guess everybody has moments of depression and anxiety, and this instrument saved my life. And now I just want to make sure everybody's got this music thing as a lifeline. So I'm here to try and help. Brilliant. Thanks a lot. Oh, yeah, right. Cool. Awesome. Thanks, Leon. Yeah, man, check out that Mastering Little Wing video if you want to get more into, like, theory stuff. But the Strum Crash Course also covers chromatic scale. If y'all want to review chromatic scale, you can go watch Munson Strum Guitar Crash Course. And that will get you, I'll go over a lot of stuff we're talking about, actually, and a lot of the questions that people are having. So, James, part, always the best. Kirk had tough, man, yeah, heck yeah, man. Kirk, oh, juice, dude, oh, man, it's so crazy. Heck yeah, Metallica rocks. Let's see. Hi, I'm in Korea. Oh man, right on. Welcome from the U.S. to the Korea. Let's see. Practice is the best. Tips you're saying. Right on. Good deal, man. Any tips on how to play songs by ear? Actually, that chords thing we were just talking about is a good way to work chords by ear or songs by ear. So, and you can do a lot with a little. If we were doing this as a music theory class, like college level class. This one chord, like the G chord I was just mentioning, you can move this to other keys if you want to. It's cool. I'm prejudiced. I like G. But this is the at-rest chord. If somebody says it's in the key of G, I expect the G to feel really restful. If I play the G at the end of the chord or at the end of the song, or if I do my little blowout and I go crazy and I do a big down and then kill it, I expect people to clap at the end of that, right? If that's the key that it's in, right? And we get some interesting discussions on YouTube about keys. There's some interesting key trolls running around that really have no idea what they're talking about. But anyway, that's a good way to pick out a song by ear. You go, okay, well, G is going to be like the place I start, right? Oh gosh, what's this? Tips on how to play songs by ear. Okay, cool. And then Justice for Myanmar. Oh gosh, I'm not sure. That seems political. I'm not sure. I haven't been in the news today, but is that a song? Maybe I'll write it down. It might be a song request. It might be, like, sometimes that happens. Like, I write down all kinds of stuff in the book. Why is your Ain't It Fun tutorial video on Paramore and not the Dead Boys? Okay. Oh, that's a really quick question. All right, but I'll get back to that. Picking songs by ear, songs by. I'm gonna write it down so I don't get lost on that. But so the way I taught to YouTube was I've taught to YouTube as if they were a student. So I did in the very beginning these things called how to plays, right? That walk you through everything. I assume you know the open strings and that's it. So we build everything up. Here's this chord. You can play it this way. You can play this chord this way, this way, this way, this way. You can play this chord this way, this way, this way. You know, strum pattern. Do some downs, down, down, up, down. You know, whatever it might be. So when I put those up, right? It's got the name of the song and then in parentheses it's the artist. Right? Same thing for the cover lessons. If you see an artist in parentheses, it is not necessarily the songwriter. That would be so confusing if I did that for Elvis. Can you imagine? Like Elvis only wrote like what All Shook Up, and then like that's it. Like there's a whole bunch of other songs he did not write. Carl Perkins wrote Blue Suede Shoes. Elvis didn't. So like but on my cover lesson it says Blue Suede Shoes, Elvis. Always on my mind, Elvis. Right? Because that's the artist I'm working with. So that's the reason why. If it says Paramore, I'm working the Paramore version. I'm not doing the Dead Boys version. You know what I mean? Like, I'm doing Take On Me, Aha. I'm not doing Take On Me from Deadpool. Like, so, not that I haven't done that, because, like, you know, there's the Nitty Gritty Dirt Band of Will the Circle Be Unbroken, and then there's, like, the traditional, like, easy version, you know? So, sometimes it's like that. But I guess I should write that. I should put Dead Boys, Ain't It Fun, right? As a request there. So, good question, though, because I did mean to get to that, actually. You know, like, what do the parentheses mean? And I feel like YouTube does the worst thing in the world. Like, they hide stuff and they do really weird stuff. And probably if I switched it and put, like, the artist first and then the name of the song, I would probably get more views. But it's just confusing to me to do that because I think you're normally looking... I'm always looking for a song. I'm not looking for an artist. For hearing chords by ear, if a song sounds bright, try C or G. Oh, yeah. And if it sounds deep, try E major. Oh, yeah. Taj Mahal song, it's probably... right on. Renee's asking some really tricky questions about... yeah, because, I mean, there'd be some jazzy, crazy Taj Mahal, right? And you'd be like, what on earth just happened? 12-bar blues and E is the way to go. Absolutely. But, yes, so picking things out by ear. You've got these chords that might work in the key if you're trying to pick out a song by ear, right? Chords in key is what I normally call that. And I have a songwriting video, I think, from like my first year of posting to YouTube, actually, that goes over like, you know, chords in key and like how to write songs with those chords. But yes, happy, sad. So if it's happy, it's a major chord. If it's sad, it's a minor chord. Go make me cry. E minor, why you got to be so sad? Happy, sad. Oh, but you can do a lot. If this was a college level theory class, normally this chord that it feels at rest, we would call the tonic. G in the key of G is the tonic. Randomly, the chord that's really close to that, sound wise, as far as there's only one note different to E minor. Randomly, so you'll hear that a lot in songs like G, E minor kind of stuff, you know, because they're really close. I kind of think of the C and the A minor being very similar too. And if this was a college thing, we would call this the subdominant. Randomly is the C chord, but it is really close to the A minor sound. Randomly, they're only one note different also, so it's very similar. You got the tonic, subdominant, right? Okay, cool. And then there's this thing called the dominant, which is the D, the 5 chord randomly. The D7 is also really nasty in the dominant chord, and that helps point back to the G chord. So you're trying to pick out a song by ear, like let's say You Are My Sunshine, right? You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me. And then there's a chord change, right? And you'd be thinking, all right, is it subdominant or is it dominant? And it ends up being subdominant. Make me happy when skies are gray. You never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away. Now, not that you could make that a lot more complex than that. But like Woody Guthrie said, 3 chords in the truth, man. If you got G, C, and D, you can play every song. And like I mentioned when we first started this whole discussion, my uncle used to play every song in the entire world with D major 7 and G major 7. That may be considered wrong by some people. I might consider it a style. A stylistic change. You are my sunshine. You make me happy when the skies are gray. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. You know what I mean? That's Uncle Walter's version of You Are My Sunshine. But let's see. Songwriter, I work with training for fun strumming. Yeah, thank you so much. Oh, man, thanks for watching, JC. Oh my gosh, or J and C Smith, sporty. I mean, to work with songs, not himself personal. Oh yeah, yeah. No, oh my gosh, man, that would be yeah, yeah. No, main thing is like find an artist you love, and then go and listen to everything they've got if you can, and then try and figure it out, And I feel like working like an entire album. That's a Burt Ligon idea from when I was in jazz theory class at USC. But there's a lot to be said for that. It's like you don't want to go learn just take five. You want to try and like listen to the whole Dave Brubeck album and then try and pick out the licks because they'll be related. You know what I mean? Like the album that saved my life was Tea for the Tillerman, Cat Stevens, and like that's the one I really started playing guitar really serious on. So it's like, all right, Father and Son, Wild World, Hard Headed Woman. Like it's like I'm gonna learn every song on this whole album. Beatles. Oh gosh, man, yeah. Hard Day's Night. I want to start from track 1 and go all the way through to the end. Sgt. Pepper. I've got the whole album up as a cover lesson. You start from song 1, you go to the end. Doing that, I can really, really help. I think as far as like picking out songs and playing stuff on the fly too. TV MJ, how you made me a good guitarist. Yeah, man, I'm glad we're jamming. So you didn't know how to play guitar, saw your YouTube, suddenly I perform at school concerts. Yes, that's what it's all about, man. Music, confidence, man, thanks, man. That pumps me up. Strumming, clapping sounds beautiful. Man, thanks, man. Noah says, you're the man that made me want to play guitar every day. Just want to say thank you. Man, thank you, man. I appreciate you. I'm glad we're jamming. This in a crazy world, we can be jamming no matter where we are in the whole world. Wow, let's see, what is it? Practice every day, and Munson is the key. Yeah, I think that helps too, man, if you've got songs to work with. And just because I'm playing the song one way doesn't mean you have to play it that way. I get good comments all the time like, you do it this way, I'm doing the fingerstyle behind you. I'm watching the bass video, and then I'm playing ukulele, That's cool, because then what it does is it simulates, this is why I love the cover lesson thing, the play-along thing, is it simulates playing with other people. And you learn so much. That's how I learned when I was growing up here in Newberry, this very small town in South Carolina. We have 38,000 people in the county, right? The city is like maybe 3,000 people. Yeah. So those are the people I can like wave at because I know them because they know me. So anyway, when I was growing up here, I didn't know anybody teaching guitar lessons. Although I found out later there were several people doing that. Anyway. But I didn't know anybody, so I just found people who played and just went to their house and sat around and said, play something, and I'd try and figure out what they were doing. Or, my friend Mike would show me something, Pascal Duke would show me something, my uncle would show me something. That's where I kind of started. But you're always, like, looking for people to jam with and play with. So that's what my YouTube is trying to do, is, like, go, hey, man, do you want to play this song? And it's not really demonstrating as much, well, I mean, it is demonstrating a way to play the song, but I feel like what can be cool if you're working on more advanced stuff is like to jump in and try and add stuff to it. I'm going to play lead with Munson. I'm going to go watch the Brown Eyed Girl lead lick video Munson has, and then I'm going to go play Brown Eyed Girl, and I'm going to play the top part and do the ba-ba-ba-ba-ba, all that stuff. But anyway, that's awesome, man. Cool. I'm just glad this stuff is helpful. If it sounds Spanish, try A minor. Oh, yes. Typical flamenco progression, Renee, would be A minor, G, F, E major. And if you do some crazy raschiato, take your fingers and shoot them out like this, you can write a whole book on it, or you can just try and fake it. All right, so down, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, down, up. It does kind of sound kind of Spanish, right? The classical guitar kind of helps with that too. Malagueña is just a dance. I always thought it was a place, but it's not. Or maybe it is. I bet you it was a girl. Guitar playing is doable, but singing to the songs is actually difficult. Oh, right on. All right, so singing. For me, all right, things, because this whole topic is things I wish I knew when I started. One thing that I wish I knew when I started, because I remember playing guitar for a long time and then suddenly going, adding this voice thing to it would be really cool, because then people might know what I'm playing. You might be playing Happy Birthday and you're going... People are like, what are you playing? I'm like, Happy Birthday. And it's like, I don't hear it. Right? So one thing I would do to try and add the voice, if you're interested in adding the voice, because I always feel like that was a huge leap for me, is downstrokes. I feel like downstroke, like taking one hand and just making it one thing can free you up to think about other things, or whatever it is. So I like downs as an approach to singing at this point, especially with my private students. So you could take the G, for instance, and you could just do it down. Happy birthday to, and then we go to D, you, and then you also have a long time to get to the next chord, right? Happy birthday to you. I call this blocking randomly, like if you're just doing one down on each chord. Happy birthday, dear C, whoever you are. Happy birthday to G.U. And you can do that with my covers. If I'm playing the strum pattern, you know, just like look for the next chord change. That gives you some extra time to get to it. You know, there are literally guitar parts that are like that in a song too, where you'll hear just somebody go, you know what I mean? Like that might be the real guitar part. The real guitar part. This is an art form, randomly. All right, I understand that there are recordings that you're trying to match and all that stuff, but really, like, if it works, it works. It's an art thing. And if you're playing the wrong changes, you just say you changed it for artistic expression because you made it easier. You look at that B minor chord going, nah, I'm just going to play D. It's like, that's legit. But the downstroke thing, you could do more of that too. You don't have to do just one down. So if we're in 4, for instance, right? Well, okay, where I'm using happy birthday. Happy birthday would be 3 downs if you're going to do traditional happy birthday. So you could do happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. That kind of thing, where you're doing like extra downs. I'm a big fan, especially in 4, of doing like this kind of thing. Just a lot of downs. And if you keep that going, even if in the middle of the chord change, it takes a minute to get the chord down, that's cool. Most people will, if you don't stop, open strings randomly, that's an E minor 11 chord randomly. Just your open strings on a guitar. Like, that's John Lennon's favorite freaking chord, because he's always like, I'm on this chord, but I got to get to the next one, so I'm just going to lift everything up because I don't care. And I'm going to put it down. You know, you just keep the right hand going. If the rhythm keeps on going, most people would not know that that most people are not going to notice the left hand. If you stop to go to the next chord, now it sounds like a mistake, right? But if you just keep the downs going, and I think that can help, like with the voice, right? You know, oh yeah, tell you something, think you'll understand when I say that something. I wanna hold your hand. You know what I mean? It's like you just keep it going. Oh gosh, let's see what we got. More questions coming in. Oh, I love you too, man. And then thanks for watching, man. I don't know if you remember when you first posted Wagon. It's Wagon Wheel guitar cover. I think you pretended to be crying at the end of the video, dude. Actually, all right. So the cover lesson thing came about. I'd been shooting all the how to plays and was really worried about copyright for a very, very long time. And so I wasn't singing the lyrics, because if you sing the lyrics, people own those, right? You can't own chords. You can't own strum patterns. So most of my how to play tutorials are, I'm going to show you the chords and the strum patterns, because copyright laws on YouTube were very different 10 years ago when I started posting also. And there are channels that are gone forever because of weird, strange copyright issues over the years. So that particular video, that Wagon Wheel video, and a lot of the ones with the brown screen, if you see a cover lesson with a brown background, it's the old Jezebel's Open Jam wall from the old store randomly. It's got people who had come and played at Open Jam at this coffee house that was awesome called Jezebel's in Newberry before the building they were in burned, and then they decided to, move on. And they, gosh, so many good times with Deb and Tammy and Sherry. But anyway, so that video in particular was like one of the test runs. I was like, man, and actually what had just happened is my second mother, Maria Duke, had passed away. And so I was really feeling that really hard, and I was like, I don't want to shoot how to plays right now. I just want to play music. And so it was a run of covers where I played maybe 6 or 7 songs. That Wagon Wheel video hit me hard because she used to live down a dirt road, and that is not me pretending to cry. That is some serious, and I don't know why I left that up, but there's some serious emotion in that one, and sometimes it's really hard to work through some of these songs. There's a lot of emotional content. Oh my gosh, it's Raul. Good to see you, man. Cool. So there's some real tears in that video, actually. But let's move on. Paco de Lucia, it's a spirit animal. Oh my gosh, is he? Excuse me. We got to be careful with that term spirit animal, though, right? That's like a whole culture. You don't want to own that. I have a really cool book. What is it? I mean, and I get it. Mine's a wolf. I have dreams about wolves and stuff. But I get that. But you got to be careful with some of that stuff these days. You can have one. You just don't want to call it that. You can call it something else. My dream animal. No, that seems better than like spirit animal somehow to me. But depends on who you're talking to probably. But love it too, Renee. Right on, Dayun. Is it three strums for happy birthday? Yes. Thanks so much, Professor. It's time to go to Sunday family dinner. Oh, yes. Oh, gosh, right on. Take care, Renee. Thank you so much for coming. This was a good idea. You're inspiring me all the time to do this kind of thing. Dayun, it was great to see you, Renee. Oh, like for real. Renee, it's been a joy. Have a great day. Yeah, oh, gosh, we love you. We love you, we do. We love you, we do. We love you, dear Renee. Have a wonderful dinner. Let's see. And then what's a good way to get into a band? I'll tell you, what I would do, now it depends, like when you're talking about a band there, Danny. Getting in a band, that's a really good question. But it immediately reminds me of one of my students, Bill Satcher, who is plays in a band called Thousand Horses. They have a big hit called Smoke, if you know Smoke. Those guys are from Newberry, and actually they used to hang out in my shop a good bit, and they both used to play open mic nights. So one way to start a band would be start playing open mic nights, because you might meet other people who want to get together and jam, and the next thing you know, you're in a band. And you could use my videos maybe to like go, hey man, we could jam to some Munson music videos, just playing the chords on the screen. The next thing you know, you got some stuff memorized. You can go play some gigs, make some money. Another way to do it, and this is why I brought up Bill and Michael Hobby, is what they did was they wrote a bunch of stuff and then they just recorded it. And they wanted a bass part, so they didn't start a band. They just got some guy to come and play bass on their album. And I did this with one of my albums too. I just was like, hey, I'm just gonna there's a friend of mine who plays bass. Dan, come over here and play some bass on my album. Oh, Mike, you play keyboard. Come over here and play keyboard on my album. Oh, Tanya, you play oboe. Come and play oboe on my album. Charlie, you got a beautiful voice. Come over here and sing on my album. So, and Matt, you play crazy percussion. Come and play on my album. So that's what they did, was they had an album that they just recorded, right? And at this point, that's pretty cheap in the grand scheme of things. You don't need like a 4-track recorder or anything. You can get like an interface, work it with your computer. So gosh, you can have like more technology to record in your house, for $400 ish, than the Beatles ever had the whole time at Abbey Road. I mean, this is like, but that's what I would do. If you're interested in that kind of thing and you want to do, original stuff, that's what I would do, Danny, is I would go and get, try and record some stuff, record some, songs, and then you would have an album to give people and go, hey man, come and we could play a show with this original stuff. For me, when I first started playing, as far as original stuff and the songwriting thing, I feel like somebody asked a question about songwriting, was I would go and learn a song, whatever it happened to be, and then I would make myself write a song in a similar style. You know what I mean? Or using the ideas that I had just learned. And I got really big into, Tammy had asked about these moving chords around earlier, or the shapes, the triad shapes. Man, that was my songwriting jam for a long, long time, was using, taking shapes I knew. Moving them around and going, all right, cool, I got a song now, whatever it happened to be, which I think that's a cool way too, if you're writing some music. But man, there's all kinds of ways to start a band, man. There might even be like, musician seeking musician page, like, oh gosh, there's so many different ways. That's a really good question there, Danny. Like for me, like I ended up just writing a lot of stuff and like had a good friend of mine. We just wrote some music together. I feel like that can be really encouraging, have like a little songwriter circle kind of thing. Like we're just a couple friends. Do you learn the lyrics, read them from paper when playing? All right. Oh, that's a good question, Gerard. So when I'm shooting a cover lesson for YouTube, right? The cover lessons that I'm shooting now, the early ones I didn't do this with, but what I do, I pick out all these songs by ear. So I go and I write the chart, right? Then I take the chart, and for me, what I do is, if this was my chart, what I'll do is I'll take, I've got a program called Earphone View that is sort of like a really quick editor. I'll take the top half and cut it and then print it this way. And then I'll take the bottom half and then I'll print it this way, because I'm old and I can't see very well. So I'll end up with a full page, 1-page chart, but I'll end up with it like this on my music stand. And yes, I will watch the chart go by, and what I do is I'll download the music to play to. So I'm matching the tempo, and I can check the chart and make sure I'm right, or pretty close to right? Yeah, there's debatable changes sometimes, and sometimes I'll make a mistake. I posted Uncle Remus by Frank Zappa this week because somebody wouldn't stop talking about it for years and years and years, and they've been supporting me on Patreon. I was like, all right, cool. I kind of get it. Let's do it. And so I went and I shot the entire thing, and spent 2 or 3 hours shooting the whole thing, and then turned around and was like, there's one change that just feels funny. Let me go listen to it. And I'd missed a change, but I'd already shot the video. So I just put a disclaimer in the description and was like, hey, I missed this. I fixed it on the chart. The chart's right. But if you're going to play along with this video, though, there's like one chord change. Just so it was like an F change, and it should have been D minor, C or something. Anyway, sometimes that happens, you know. So I'll put a disclaimer on it if it's something that I know and I'm aware of. Sometimes you just simplify things because like it's just too crazy to try and be exact, you know. Because everything's a simplification. You know, it's me playing guitar. It's not, you know, it's not the whole band. You know, if you wanted to hear the Beatles, you'd be listening to the recording and not me. But yeah, absolutely. I'll have the lyrics in front of me, and then I'll be listening to it to check it. I'll slow it down for the Munson covers. If it's a capo thing, now this gets crazy, and I've been doing this. I just do this my way at this point. So I write the chart, got on the stand, download the music. If it's a capo tune, I'll shoot one practice run for Munson music and books. Then I'll go and shoot instrumental version and then a cover for Munson guitar songs. And then I will take the capo off and do it no capo and do the full run. Oh, and then do the guitar strum version. Then do the fingerstyle for Munson covers. Then I'll put the capo back on and do the fingerstyle for Munson Music Live, the strumming for Munson Music Live. Then I will go through and do like the capo, no capo version for the banjo, the mandolin, the bari uke, the ukulele, the bass, and the real key, and then in the easy key, then the real key, then the piano in the in the easy key, and then the hard key, and then I'll have the versions that go to Munson jam tracks. Did you follow that? And if I don't do all that at this point, somebody's going to ask for it. Because I will have people like go, you can't sing, and I'll go, cool, let me send you the instrumental version. Somebody's going to go, that's not the real key, and I'll go, oh, that's cool, here's the real key, if you want to play it in the real key and torture yourself with a million bar chords. Yeah, because you never know what people need, you know. And at this point, I've just been doing it that way for a long time, and that makes sense. So that because once I shoot the tune, it's over. I'm not going to do it again. I don't normally do redos. I did one for Will the Circle Be Unbroken because I really fell in love with the Nitty Gritty Dirt Band version, and they add an extra verse at the end. So I did do that one. I did a different one for Ring of Fire. I have an easy version of Ring of Fire, and then I have a tricky version of Ring of Fire that actually matches Johnny Cash's version. And then I also have done a redo on Sitting on the Dock of the Bay because I was playing it wrong because I learned it from playing it with people and not from the recording. So I actually had like the Munson version, which is like what I had been playing for like 10 years. And then I have like, oh, that's how you play it, like picking it out by ear. And that's just how you used to learn stuff. You know, you learn it from a book in the wrong key, or you'd find a bad tab for it somewhere and pay good money for a bad tab. I mean, and you wouldn't have the recording as a reference sometimes. So it was just the dynamic of like how, you know, the time I was growing up and learning stuff. So let's see. Any other questions here that, let's see. I think every lesson on the channel, look into the chord chart, contains lyrics and chords, but open mic night. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Actually, yeah, normally, if I'm playing a show, Dayun's like, yeah, man, he's got my back on that. Because I do, when I'm shooting a new song, I will use the chart for the cover lesson. I will listen to it to make sure it's right, and I will use that to shoot all my runs. But when I actually play a gig myself, like I played a 3-hour gig with the Bovine Marauders, like oh gosh, last month. And then I played over at Ritz Fest for an hour. Like I don't take charts to that stuff at this point, or at least I didn't for those gigs. Although in the past I have like taken my gig book. Here's my one with all my originals in it, and then I will take that to the gig. And normally I won't open it up. I'll just like have it there, like just in case. Be like, I feel good. It's in my, it's nearby. Occasionally, if you do bring the gig book though, somebody will ask you for a song that you can play, but you do not have memorized, and it's nice to have it there as a reference. And every now and then I'll have a gig like that where I'll take all the new cover lessons that I did and I'll throw them in a book, and I'll go, oh yeah, I'm going to play all the new stuff, I got to do Flowers for this one, but I don't know if I can pull it off without looking at the chart. But I also want to make sure that the chart and the way I'm playing it is matching the recording. So that's the way that I do that with the YouTube at this point. So that's a good question, man. I hope that helps with that. Tammy, awesome. I just wrote a song for my son. Yes, awesome, Tammy, yes. I will try to use the triads working. Oh man, do it. My favorite one, Tammy, is the D. And even just using just those 3 voicings up the neck, right? When you can do it over the top too, it'd be like 14, 14, 15. Just for D's in general, like throw a D chord in the song you're writing, so you can practice all your D's. That really used to help me a lot with triad stuff like that, be like, okay, I'm gonna write a song with the thing I'm trying to learn, right? So it helps reinforce it. You know, it's like the more times you see it, if you see it in a song, every time you see D for like 2 weeks, use all those voicings for D's, and then like you won't have to think about them anymore. But that's awesome. That's great, Tammy. I'm glad that's man. I love those triads. Like there's so many songs that I ended up writing like using those shapes. Right on, Tammy. Do you have a Facebook? Oh, right on. Oh, and I hope everybody's following me on Facebook. I know I was going through a period before Christmas of everything of trying to do more social networking stuff. So a lot of you guys probably already follow me on. I'm supposed to plug all this stuff, right? Is Twitter and Instagram and Facebook and Pinterest and SoundCloud and Spotify and all these different places that we are, right? It kind of drives me nuts, and I don't know if I'm gonna. I don't know. I'm sure I'll get back into it. I had a whole bunch of editing with Irish Fling, so I'm a couple weeks. I didn't do the run around the bases for all the social media stuff. Although I thought this was a cool way to like just kind of touch base with you guys, my fans. You guys rock, man. See. Do you have? Right on. So hopefully you guys follow me on Facebook and kind of see the open jams and all that stuff. And so I feel like a lot of people were really so supportive of like the open jams and the open mic. And just the local musician scene here is just amazing. There's so many good songwriters and so many good musicians. I'm just really grateful. It's a blessing, all the people that I have in my life here. Thanks, Renee. Your videos are awesome. Oh, yeah. Everybody should go and subscribe to Renee. She's always posting and jamming a bunch of stuff. So, yes, have Facebook, full name shown here. Munson does too. Yeah. Y'all can go and post some stuff on Facebook, or, ask questions on the stuff if you have other questions too. How are we doing, Tom? Oh my gosh, we're doing good. Was there other stuff that I wanted to try and include? I feel like everybody's been hanging out for a while now. Thanks for making time on a Sunday. And I'm gonna have to bug out in just a little bit, but I want to make sure I kind of covered most of the stuff that we got. Talked about where I started with music. See, this is my little outline to try and keep myself sane. Let's see. Everybody go and support each other. All right, so most important things I wish I knew when I started. Instrument ideas. Lighter strings are cool. We talked about that. Lighter strings, silk and steel strings. Electric guitars are easier to play, but they're more expensive, right? So go get yourself an electric guitar if you're having tricky stuff with the acoustic. If you want something louder, you can always grab the volume knob and turn it up. See how little you have to try. Try and relax. And that reminds me of something else I was about to talk about and then forgot, is when you're thinking about moving. You remember when we were talking about wiggles, inventing silly finger exercises for yourself to help exercise everywhere, no matter where you are. The way that you work as a human being is you think, move finger. And then there's an electrical impulse that shoots through your nervous system all the way down to your finger. And then what happens is your finger releases some type of chemical, and then it makes your finger move. All right? So what can happen is if you think about something really hard, and you try too hard, there's a buildup of that chemical. Normally the first thing that happens is this, because there's a buildup of you do the English T thing. Your pinky gets some tension. So especially banjo players and fingerstyle players, I know a lot of people will do this and rest the pinky as a resting place. Watch out for that, because you want to still be relaxed, because you don't want to like have that be a resting thing and there be extra tension in your hand and you just don't notice it because you're using this as an anchor point. Free stroke, classical free stroke, you don't do that, and actually people would frown on that. If you're more interested in the fingerstyle thing, because there were some people asking about fingerstyle stuff, do go and check out the fingerstyle crash course. If you're a mandolin player, go check out the mandolin crash course. Banjo player, check out the banjo crash course. I feel like I recommend that and shoot that video to people when they're asking questions a lot. So be aware that there's a place you can go to learn more about your instrument. And I shot those before I did a lot of the cover lessons, because I was like, this is stuff I don't want to really cover in a lesson. I just want to shoot music, but I want that information as a resource out there. So, man, thank you, Mary. Thanks for watching. Oh, my gosh, this is great, man. And Gerard, that's awesome. So let's see, other things. Right, I was just talking about that thing, right? Oh, yeah. So watch out for the pinky thing. Main thing is to stay as relaxed as possible, be as lazy as possible, see how little you have to try to get a good sound on your instrument. Because the thing that really, my understanding is, and I'm not a medical person exactly, but I do have friends who are doctors. My understanding is the way that people get really messed up with carpal, for instance, right, is that they call it overuse, but it's not really overuse, it's misuse, because you're trying too hard to do something. drummers that get tense in the hand, you're gonna get carpal. Like, you got to be relaxed. You got to see like how little. And I feel like the real path to being a virtuoso on whatever instrument you're doing is like, see how little you have to try. See how lazy you possibly can be, right? So just be aware of that, because there's a sensitivity too. Like, you were like, oh yeah, I'm relaxed, and then like, if you keep on doing it, you're like, wait, hold on, I could be even more relaxed. And there's a sensitivity to it. I think the more you play, the more you kind of become aware of it. So that was something I wanted to mention. Right, we talked about head angle, thumb making a difference, wearing a strap, standing up, angle over effort. Be lazy. We just talked about that, right? You want it louder, turn it up in the PA, right? Don't worry about trying harder to make it really, really loud. Intro on how the muscles work. We just talked about that. Right. This was a random aside. If you're a 12-string guitar player, it does take more tension, more effort to hold down the strings, right? But it's all the same notes as a 6-string. I've gone through periods where I buy a 12-string and then I sell it, and I buy a 12-string and I sell it. But just super light strings randomly, and just be aware, like, if your fingers or your hand is hurting, there's normally a reason, and just be aware that maybe there's an easier way to do things if it's something consistent, especially. Mandolin, you will also see mandolin players, like, I've started mandolin players before, and instead of the 8 strings, we just take it and scale it down to 4. So if you're like playing mandolin, you love the sound of a mandolin, you want to learn how to play mandolin, you're playing mandolin, but your fingers are hurting, like, you may want to think about, an electric mandolins, normally they'll do that. Like, I've seen Sam Bush play this beautiful freaking, electric 4-string mandolin. But anyway, just be aware of that. Nylon strings can feel really good too, randomly. I don't know, you could go to a music shop and just kind of play different guitars, but lighter strings, like, can make a huge difference. And then I had practice ideas. These are other things I wish that I knew before. Full triad bar chord songs for us. Right on. Oh, Tammy, that's a good question. All right, so if you want to do more bar chord shape stuff, Munson Guitar Songs is the channel I normally post the hard stuff to. Nobody watches that channel. So for instance, if you want to work on bar chords, there's a playlist. I think it's on Munson Music. It's on this channel, Munson Music Live, that's called Intermediate Guitars Songs or something. There's like beginner guitar songs as a playlist, and then there's like intermediate guitar. Yeah, awesome, cool, awesome. So you may want to check that out. It should be up, and there's 100 playlists on this channel, so it might be kind of, make sure you go to like all the playlists. But if you go over to Munson Guitar Songs, normally if something's a capo, for instance, like Wagon Wheel, and if I was shooting it now, I'm hoping I got a version up there. Like, I would normally do it capo 2 and G for the easy key, is G, D, E minor, C chord stuff, and then I would go and turn around and go on Munson covers with no capo. Same chords, right? Easy and maybe slower, right? And then I would turn around and go to Munson Guitar Songs and go, okay, well, it's really an A. And then I'll do the A with the bar chord stuff on Munson Guitar Songs. So you may want to check that out. If you want to practice bar chords, there's a whole playlist of freaking, oh gosh, it'll kill you. Now, sometimes the song does not work out that way. Like, Bohemian Rhapsody is up, and that's tricky, and it's a bunch of bar chords. That'd be a really good one. If you want a really hard song to take on, what's another hard one? The Frank Zappa tune this week, Uncle Remus. That's a really tricky one. It's got the F's and E flats. What else is weird? The other hardest songs I can think of randomly there's 2 from Frozen 2 that are really hard. One is Lost in the Woods that's up, and probably nobody watches that video because it's hard. Like, there's no easy way. Occasionally you'll just have a song that there's no easy solution. It's just like they're changing keys, the chord changes, you just have to kind of do it. Frozen, yeah, right, exactly, yeah. What is it? Oh gosh, I could pull it up. I probably got the chart on do I have the chart over here? I don't know. I guess I could pull up the what are the hardest songs I've got up, right? Pinterest, Lost in the Woods. I'm doing a Google search. Lost in the Woods, Frozen 2, Munson Music Live. And then if I go guitar chord chart, because I don't have it on this computer because I'm at my house in the laundry room. Oh my gosh, there's so much stuff with my handwriting. I had a student one time, they were like, I found this great tab for the Beverly Hillbillies on banjo. And I'm looking at it going, that's my handwriting. They had printed it out. Oh, here it is, yeah. All right, so this is one that's really tricky, is the A flat, G flat. and you're gone, off on a different path than mine. I'm left behind, wondering if I should follow. That song, there's a Weezer cover of it. It's great. It's called Lost in the Woods from Frozen 2. That one's really tricky. That's a great bar chord one if you want a bunch of those. And then the other one that comes to mind is, oh gosh, there's one. All that Frozen 2 stuff is tricky. Man, that's the best freaking songwriters in the world writing for Disney. I mean, come on, y'all. Really? I mean, Encanto? Come on. I mean, that's great stuff out there. Moana? I mean, I don't know. Disney can afford to pay for the best songwriters in the world. They write some really good songs. But anyway, So, yeah, that was a good one, too. So, oh gosh, there was stuff happening. Yeah, Frozen. Yeah, I know, right? Frozen. Yeah, right. But I have a 7-year-old daughter. We love Frozen in my house, man. We'd be singing Frozen all day. Yeah. Snow glows white on the mountain tonight, not a footprint to be seen. Yeah, but anyway, what do we got? Oh yeah, check them out, Tammy. It'd be nice if somebody goes and watches those. I spent a lot of time. It was like my chord quiz day, man. But I don't think they're just hard, you know. It's like I'll get 1 million views out of something that's like 3 chords, you know. But like, yeah. But I love it that those are out there. I really do. Don't have any show, never watch. Oh, you should check it out, man. Frozen will make you cry. Yep. So Terry, yeah, go cry with Frozen today, man. Succeeded. Yeah, it was way too, man, isn't it? Rand Dane's like, yeah, I played that song. It was really hard. I succeeded it without singing, but then I can play. Yeah, man, absolutely. Yeah, the Lost in the Wood one is a good one too. So, those are the trickiest ones I can think of. I normally gravitate to, if I have a choice myself, normally I will try and pick out something that's current, people are playing around, or, you know, you hear on the radio a good bit. Not so hard. You know, my real focus is beginners. You know, so if it's like a 3 or 4 chord song, I like that better. With my own playing and my own band stuff, I normally like playing simpler tunes because that gives me more freedom to add stuff to it and make it more complex. You know, if I'm doing like a 4 chord song and it's one progression all the way through, like Pumped Up Kicks or, you know, Last Kiss or Viva La Vida or Stand By Me, or, you know, if it's like one thing, you're like, oh, this is cool because now it gives me freedom to do more stuff with it, you know, or even a jazz tune. But, you know, like, you know, the more complex the chord structure, the less freedom you have. Because if the chords are going by like this and there's 1 million chords, you don't have time to improvise over that. You got to just play the chords, you know, right? So let's see what else is going on here. No, I succeeded without singing. Oh yeah, man, 98 songs with 4 chords. Oh, that's right, I forgot about that video. And Dayun's like, don't forget about the 98 songs with 4 chords video. Absolutely. So 4 chords and you could play 1 million songs, literally, like no exaggeration whatsoever. So I did do a video at one point called 98 songs. Right, 98 songs with 4 chords in 15 minutes, right? And it's like, let me teach you this, teach you this, chord, song. And some of them aren't the whole songs, but then that was really good for me because then it let me, gave me a kind of a direction too with the channel when I shot that video. And then I was like, oh man, I should do full covers for some of these. And that's what I did, which was cool. Oh hey, Pradix, how's it going? We're having a good conversation here. I was trying to make sure I talk about all the things that I lined up. But people have been asking some questions and stuff. Oh, man, thank you very much, man. I'm glad we're jamming out there in cyberspace. Cool. So we're having a good time here talking about stuff, too. I will try and figure out another time when this could work. We got some... once a month, I feel like would be a good thing. I might shoot for first Sundays or something at 9. And just because that works well with my schedule, because I'm already doing stuff first Thursday, first Friday, first Saturday myself, so then it keeps it straight in my head what I'm doing. But so then I also wrote down on the topic of things I wish I knew when I started, which is where this conversation was going, and I'm trying to like make sure I talk about all the things that I wrote down. I feel like I've hit a lot of these, but I didn't do them in the right order. We skipped around a lot. Sorry about that. But anyway, so practice ideas. All right, one practice idea I had is something I call loop practice, which is where you take one idea and then you just like do it a lot, like a broken record, like a broken record, like a broken record, like a broken record. Actually, a musical term for that would be an ostinato. An ostinato is a short repeated pattern. An ostinato is a short repeated pattern. An ostinato is a short repeated pattern. Ostinato is a short repeated pattern. I think you get the point. So you could take like one thing, for instance, like you could take one chord change even. You know, and just like if you're like, oh man, I have a really hard time going from G to D. right? That's just an example. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do just that one thing. In this particular case, you can also, like me, when I first started playing guitar, I watched too much TV, and they had these things called commercials. Y'all might be familiar with commercials. My 7-year-old calls them skip ads. It's commercials now. But you could even just like take one hand and isolate one hand, right? Or if you're practicing a strum pattern, you can do it without the left hand. That helps you. That helps sensitivity for relaxation too, because you can have ten in one hand transfer to the other hand, like left to right or right to left. So the main thing is like being relaxed. So and I used to do the finger style. A couple people were asking about finger style earlier. You can take like a finger style pattern, whatever it happens to be. My training is in classical guitar, and we use Spanish abbreviations for the fingers. So this is polegar, P, indeso, I, medio, M, angular, ring finger. You'll notice that I'm having a very difficult time getting that finger to come out individually because I use it finger style wise with the pinky in sympathy all the time, and the pinky is chica. So P-I-M-A-C, Pimac. And so these guys, though, there's a really strong tendon connection between the ring finger and the pinky. And so if you use these guys together, it's kind of like this is the brain. I'm thinking of the stroke from the pinky, but I use the ring finger to actually play the string. So one way that you could kind of warm up with this is you could go thumb on the low E string for the bass, and normally the thumb will play the E, the A, and the D. Index on the G, middle finger on the B, ring finger on the high E, and this is just a starting place. There's a million ways to do this, but thumb, index, middle, ring, like Pima, 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 Pima. P-I-M-A, P-I-M-A would be a good place to start if you're interested in doing fingerstyle. But the main thing with that, where was I going with that? How do we get that? Oh yeah, the loop thing. Oh yeah, hand isolation, right? So practicing like just one hand by itself, and then you go, oh okay, all right, I'm just gonna take that one thing, and then you take the left hand out of it, whatever happens to be, whatever arpeggio it happens to be, and that way, you can do it more relaxed. So anyway, that was fun. That was what? Oh gosh, that was some Villalobos. House of the Wolf. All right, so let's see. Let's practice. Oh yeah, practicing watching TV. Isn't that fun? All right, you should try that because that's a good distraction. Because inevitably you'll be playing a bar gig like me, and somebody will come up and want to ask you a question in the middle of you playing and singing a song. Right? So you'll be like, oh where can my... Oh, I've been playing guitar about 10 years. My baby, the Lord took her away from me. Now she's at home tonight. About to Devon, so I got... drunk people that do crazy stuff, so watch out. But if you practice watching TV, that's a good distraction. I like practicing in other rooms of the house. Change your environment, play outside, sing songs to the trees, play in the park, play near the fountain. Go to, randomly for me, like USC was a great campus, not Southern California, University of South Carolina. Go Cox! Was a great place because they have all these weird little nooks and crannies, like behind the Columbiana Library, near Thomas Cooper, next to the fountain, over here behind this. It's like a cool college campus just to wander around with a guitar and just like set up and practice in some weird environment with like people just randomly walking by as a distraction, because then that way you stay focused on your music better. So that's it. That could be a good thing, especially if you want to play open mics and jam and all that stuff and you want to chill your nerves. Best thing in the world is just like make yourself just go and be in different environments with different people that you don't know and just not care, and you'll have friends. That's another way to get a band together. Actually, Danny was asking about that earlier. Just start playing music everywhere. People will find you. You know what I mean? And they'll be like, hey man, you want to be in a band? Although I get that question a lot, man. Are you in a band? Because somehow for a lot of people that's a goal. That's the goal, right? And I've been in bands that I really loved. I've been in other bands where it really felt like kind of work. So. I love them though. Don't get me wrong. But other questions here. Let's see. I learned everything about music from Munson. Oh, Dayoon. Oh, God, it touched my heart, man. I first watched his videos. I never sang along with him because the first time I wasn't very good and not very good. Man, see, Dayoon, you are not alone, man. I end up with other people who comment on it and they go, I'm learning English. And the way I'm learning English is I'm playing along with your covers and I watch the words go by. So I know what you know what I mean? It's like that's awesome. I feel like that's really cool to be able to do that. And learn a second language that way. I think that's cool. And I really wish that I was more multilingual. Growing up in South Carolina, it's kind of like I've got un poquito español and then a lot of like Southern stuff. And I'm lucky that I talk a little bit more like Dan Rather and now a little bit more country, because that could be, that'd change the whole vibe, right? But I just watched too much TV as a kid. Hi folks, hey Barb, how's it going? Nice. Munson runs some music channels. I only learn music, but also English. Oh yeah, man, that's awesome. That's great, cool. And there are like 4 channels here, right? There's Munson Music Live that you're watching. There's Munson Covers that does more of the easy play along stuff with no capo. There's Munson Guitar Songs that does more hard stuff with bar chords and real key stuff, and trickier strum patterns normally. And then there's Munson Jam Tracks if you don't want me to sing. You can just go sing yourself. And I use all those videos depending on what people are asking in the comments, shoot them back the videos. So strange environments, I just talked about that. Playing for strangers, playing with your instrument way out of tune. Ooh, yeah. This is an awful idea, but it's another practice idea. If you want to test yourself, you'd be like, I just learned a piece, or a song. Maybe I know Pumped Up Kicks and I just learned it. Right? And you're like, oh man, all right, cool. I think I got it memorized. You can like put your guitar way out of tune. This is going to hurt, y'all. All right, and then you're like, all right, cool. Let me see if I still got it memorized. But you know what I mean? It's like, oh man, we're like message in a bottle with this. Sorry, y'all. I just had to do it. It's just like brainstorming practice techniques, and that was one that came to mind that I brought up in college one day that was kind of fun. All right, but anyway, so yeah, put your guitar out of tune and just make yourself play it anyway. See if you got it memorized. Q&A, right? But a lot of requests. So, yeah, and really requests is really mainly what I get questions about more than anything else randomly. So I do write them down. They're all in a book. I keep track of them. Yeah, absolutely. But there's only so much time in a day. So I do apologize if you've been asking for the same song for 7 years now and I've never done it. I'm so sorry. Like, it may be that it's really, really hard. It may be that I just haven't had time to try and pick it out. It may be that, oh gosh, there's all kinds of reasons why I haven't gotten around to your request. It's mainly because there are just other people who asked for stuff too. And I want to try and keep at least some type of something current on the channel, right? So I'll be like, all right, Miley Cyrus got this new song. I guess I'll shoot that. Yeah. And I love the song too, man. Flowers is a fun song. But you know what I'm saying? Like I gotta do some lip service to, current affairs and stuff, all that too. So yeah, let's see other stuff. Oh, Barb. I hope that was about the detuning thing, Barb. But I like the style of guitar he plays. Oh, right. Well, I'm playing my uncle's guitar. This is Uncle Walter's guitar. It's a Yamaha classical is what I'm playing right this second. So it's a little plug for Yamahas. I've owned a couple of Yamahas and really enjoyed them. They know what's up there. Can't play classical guitar, but I strum just like you did. Yeah, man. With strum, and I feel like with the classical thing, I know there are a lot of people doing classical guitar lessons and stuff. My main focus is beginners. Classical, if you know how to read stuff, you can go read stuff. So some of it's process, I guess. Anyway, it kind of like when Dae-Yoon was asking about Master of Puppets too. It's like, okay, well, what I need is the skill of reading tab. With classical guitar, you would need the skill of reading music. There's so many people that write, and play music and don't know how to read, and that's fine because you learn music like a language. Just as a thing, right? So you can talk with it, right? So you end up with vocabulary, rhythm vocabulary, chord vocabulary, lead guitar vocabulary, right? So you can talk it. And so that normally the way I try and teach is like that. I try and teach people to talk with their instrument first and then turn around and go, okay, well, if you're interested in reading, this is how the notes work, and all that stuff. So it just makes more sense to do that because you don't teach somebody how to read a book before they know how to talk. So anyway, to me it makes sense. You listen to music, you culture yourself to it, you create a vocabulary. Once you have a vocabulary, then you can talk with it. You talk with and then you can write your own stuff eventually, right? Because we were all that's what I've been doing for the last 2 hours, is just talking, inventing, making up stuff. All right, cool. But anything else that I have on my list of things, the majority of questions are requests, right? I do read every comment on every video that YouTube gives me. But they do not show me when. All right. So, but if you make a comment, I answer your question. If you put something else on that thread, YouTube will not let me. There's no easy way for YouTube to let me know that you commented on that thing again. So occasionally I'll catch it. I'll be scrolling down and go, oh man, they answered a question, or they said da da da, and because like it turns it from a comment into a thread, a conversation thread, and they don't have they used to have a better way of doing it, and then they changed it because some coder had to, justify his job or something and came up with some dumb way to make it new. And now it just can put a new comment if you have a question. I want to answer your question because I'm here to help you guys. But yeah, just make sure you make a new comment. Every time, and I'll always see it. I always see new comments. Let's see, anything else? Let's see. Oh, the other thing was just like how much work I kind of put into like how long it takes to shoot a cover, because I feel like a lot of people will go, hey, do this request, and they don't realize that I have to do this in this process. If I don't do it in this process, people are going to ask for whatever I didn't do. I have to shoot it with all 7 instruments, like in this form, and do it for the 2 channels and all that stuff. Depends on the song too, and I'm all about changing the key to make it easier for sure. But I was estimating if it's a 3 to 5 minute song, just as a thing, I'll end up shooting for, oh gosh, this is crazy. What is this? Oh yeah, it can take like 8 to 10 hours of my time to do one song. If it's a capo song that's a 5 minute song, like I really am looking at about 8 to 10 hours of time to do that request, just as a thing. And part of that has to do with my computer speed, but I don't have the money to upgrade it. So just keep watching the videos. Maybe I can upgrade my computer. But the program that I like, I have to use that program, and I have to do it with all the shoots. But it's weird because like I was estimating, it's like normally like a song like that, you're looking at like 2 to 3 hours of a shoot, right? And then on all the instruments, retuning, taking the capo off, retuning, shooting like all 7 instruments, and then you're looking at like at least like an hour to 2 hours, depending on the song, to set up titles, right? Like setting up like the words, doing the typesetting. I get out my little kit of like, there's the A, and then and you put it all together, and then it can take like another 2 to 3 hours to render out all those videos and then upload them, right? So that's a lot of time. Like, you don't think about it. It's like, it's just a 3-minute song and it's got titles on it with the chords over the top. But like, I had to shoot it, and then I had to set up the titles, then I had to render it out, edit it, and then I had to upload it. I don't know. It's just more time than you think, I think. So anyway, occasionally I will take requests for stuff and people will pay me. And that's cool. And if I was going to estimate, if you wanted like, hey, if you want your song, all right, this was just an offer, but please don't anybody take me up on this. All right. But, if you do want me to do your song, like what I would normally be doing for 8 to 10 hours of time, all right, 10 hours of time, for instance, right, of your song, whatever it happens to be, right, would be, I would normally be, I teach lessons in the afternoon. Normally it's $20 for a half-hour lesson. So I'm billing at $40 an hour, which is stupid, right? But I'm doing this on top of my other stuff, that like running the store and working a 60-hour week, and then all of a sudden somebody wants me to put in another 10 hours, 8 to 10 hours to do their song. And I would want to charge you about $400, $40 an hour for 10 hours. So just as an aside, but everything I have up is free. And so you can just enjoy the other ones. But I did write down all the ones from today. These are the requests that people were asking for through the Q&A today, and so I'm gonna put this on the list. And actually, there's some really good ones here. Actually, and I feel like this is a shorter list than literally the front and back of a notebook, at least this size. That's the normal request list. So I will check these out for sure. You may find whatever song you're requesting, if you are requesting songs, on the Pinterest. You may also find it on YouTube, because YouTube does this weird thing sometimes where like once a channel's gotten enough views for a day, they don't care about your channel anymore. And so like I have gone looking for my videos that I know are there, and YouTube has hidden them because my videos got enough views for the day and they don't care about me anymore. So, I'll be like, oh, wagon wheel, I know it's there. Like, can't I find it? Because I made the thing and I know it's there, and like they'll hide it, and you'll be like, I don't know what happened to this video. And you'll have to like go to like where you got content and then search for it, and then you'll find it in your content. You just won't find it in the YouTube search. Like the YouTube search is weird, but because they think everybody wants to watch whatever's popular. Sometimes things are popular because people shouldn't be watching them. But somebody's got a question. Okay, let's see. I have a question. How can I write in the pentagram? I mean, with the you're thinking a pentatonic, I think. Mamet, I guess. I hope I'm saying your right name. Or your name right. I do have a video on pentatonic scale, right? So pentatonic scale. There's also probably some information like that on yes. So pentatonic scale. Like I know I have a video already up that goes over pentatonic scale for guitar. There should be one that's like pentatonic scale, jamming any key with any instrument, where I cover doing it. Yeah. Go check it out. I also probably cover a lot of scale stuff and theory stuff, and there's a video for Before You Accuse Me. Maybe I should write that down too. And I'll probably go over pentatonic scale in that video too. There's a how to play Before You Accuse Me, right? So there's how to play tutorials that kind of walk you through all the stuff. Tutorials, all right, cool, something like that. You know, Before You Accuse Me, how to play tutorial probably goes over some pentatonic stuff. It also goes over like how to play blues stuff. So if you're interested in that, I normally think about pentatonic scale and blues together. Some people call the pentatonic scale the blues scale and add like a chromatic passing tone to it, you know. That's the minor blues scale. This is the pentatonic scale. Same thing. Here's some chromatic passing tones are like where you fill in the spaces. You know what I mean? Because really, you can get any note to work. Shh. You know what I mean? It's like, I just won't skip anybody. So, but yeah, man, check out the pentatonic scale video, and I think Before You Accuse Me covers that. I'll probably do that sporadically in other stuff too. Pentatonic's my jam, and there's some really good pictures of pentatonic scale on the on the Pinterest. And Before You Accuse Me definitely covers like the blues lick stuff too, and you get to like some bar chord stuff too. Randomly, it's also like I missed a chord change there, and it has a disclaimer on it because I taught it as just a straight 12-bar blues in E instead of the E-A-E-E change that Eric Clapton does. But anyway, Renee's back. You had lunch. You came back. I'm still talking. What's up? Renee, it's good to see you again. Battery keeps dying. Oh, Tammy's battery keeps dying. Let's see. We got I'm back. Oh, Susan made it. Oh gosh, it's good to see you. Susan, awesome, cool. Susan wrote a really cool article about ukulele stuff, featuring me at one point. So thank you. I should say thank you now. I get to say thank you. Thanks, amazing. Oh, awesome, man, cool. See, do you have the Before You Accuse Me intro lick? Oh, I do not have the actual like Clapton unplugged Before You Accuse Me intro lick. I don't think. It's a combination of two turnaround licks somehow. But I saw a tab for it. I thought I sent you tab, Dayun, for it. If you go and search, Guitar Pro tab Before You Accuse Me, Eric Clapton Unplugged on Google. That was a lot to say. But yeah, if you go to Google and go Before You Accuse Me, Guitar Pro tab, Eric Clapton Unplugged, like it'll come up. And actually, I guess I could do that right now, right? I'd be like, oh yeah, I'm sitting here looking at it. Before You Accuse Me, Guitar Pro tab. Oh, you got a computer right in front of me, duh. If I go all over here, and then I go dun, 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 there it is, Guitar Pro. Let's see if it'll let me. And most of these, it'll just let you see it right from the top. Oh, okay. Oh, now that's trying to. I don't want to. No, wait, hold on. I found a weird link. Ultimate Guitar. Maybe. Let's check it out. Everybody's like, oh yeah, Ultimate the Guitar. There you go. Ultimate Guitar's got Guitar Pro tab, and it looks pretty legit. It looks like you start with a D7 shape, and then slide it from 2nd and 3rd fret to 3rd and 4th fret, which makes it an E7 chord, right? So like, my E was out. Sorry. And then he takes it down a half step to the 2, 3, 3. That's that would be a E flat 7, right? And it's got some open strings. I'm looking at it, man. It's on Ultimate Guitar. And then what do we got here? Let's see. Then this is almost like a little turnaround lick. What is this? That's cool. And then we got, oh, nice. But I know I did it the open mic night, and what I did was I kind of just like faked it, like. Something, you know, it was like some turnaround. And that Before You Accuse Me video, I'm sure I'd talk about, like the turnaround licks, you know, or at least a couple stock ones. My stock ones would be, oh yeah. something like that. But you can if you do a search for like E blues turnaround licks too, you may be able to find some other guys who will walk you through stuff like that too. But hey, I don't know, the tabs up there, it just looks really crazy, like working off D7 shape kind of stuff. You know, some hammer-on stuff on the G string. But I see more comments. Have you thought about adding some more simple finger? Oh, that's a good question, Susan. That's a really good question. You know, I do more fingerstyle stuff with the ukulele students that I have like in the studio. I feel like with for the strumming, since my main focus is beginner, you know, stuff. Normally, like if I'm shooting a song, and mostly what I'm shooting now is just the cover lessons, I'll do just the strumming ukulele version. I'll do it with the finger, like I strum with the index finger on ukulele. I know some people do thumb strumming. That just feels awkward to me because I have a longer fingernail because of my classical guitar kind of stuff. What I think is cool is that you can do fingerstyle. Like if you're good at fingerstyle ukulele, though, you should be able to play a fingerstyle ukulele along with me strumming, or like with, you know. But it would also be really cool because you could take all the fingerstyle patterns, you know, that you could use and kind of like throw them on ukulele. I'm thinking like thumb, index, middle, ring kind of stuff, you know, where you just do like you know, just that straight through. Like if I had a uke right now, it'd be like this kind of thing. Is just a really good 4 pattern, but you could also mix it up. I think most people like do like 10 thumbs. I think has a video on Travis Pickett, and I'm not sure like how he does it because I don't watch other people's videos normally, but I saw it like in my feed. But I think like thumb, middle, index, ring is one way to do the Travis Pickett. A lot of people will do thumb, index, thumb, middle. It's like a square roll thing. I see. I do a lot of that stuff, but yeah, that's a good question. I don't know if I get to finger picking stuff on. In the uke crash course. It's been a long time since I read that. And then you just gave me another thing. Thumb strumming is weird. Right on. Yeah. That's what I would think. Is maybe you doing your own fingerstyle stuff along with me is probably going to be more interesting than me posting a fingerstyle ukulele video. Does that make sense? I feel like it's easier for beginners to like digest the strumming, and so like I just kind of gravitate to that. I do the fingerstyle versions for guitar. But those really I just keep doing like one pattern. I was thinking like that would be cool if you wanted like an arpeggio thing. What you could do is you could pull up me doing the fingerstyle guitar, and then you could add the ukulele doing the fingerstyle harmonies in the same tempo. You know, if I'm doing like ba ba da ba ba da ba, and you're doing that da 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 like on the ukulele and matching it, we'd end up with some really cool harmonies. You know, between the two instruments, because like you'd be playing it in a higher voicing than me. You know, because like ukulele is basically like guitar with a capo for 5, and then you break 2 strings. You know, as far as tuning goes. But so you'd end up with some really cool things. Yeah. Awesome. Okay, cool. I figured we right on. Yeah, but that's a good question. At some point, it would be really cool for me to go back and do the like. I've thought about that with the crash courses though. Like that seems like something that would be cool to talk about as a topic in like a intermediate ukulele video, or like, you know, crash course part 2 or something. So I don't know. I should put that on the list. I feel like those take more time to shoot and plan and stuff. So I don't know. Like I feel like it's easier for me because I'm just busy with other work and stuff right this second to just like shoot more songs, because I feel like that's the main thing people are asking for is just the request of the songs. But that'd be a really cool topic. So I should put like, I'm gonna put it on my list. Intermediate videos, right? Like, you know, like next level from the crash courses would be cool. But some of the crash courses get crazy. I don't know if you watch those, but I'm sure it goes into chromatic scale. Here's how you play every chord in the whole universe. Yeah, so I'll put that down on the list for sure. Yeah, Travis picking is fun, and actually Travis picking's weird too. Because I'm more used to doing it from a classical guitar point of view. Travis picking would be like a thumb, middle, index, ring thing, and then you alternate the basses for root and 5 on the guitar. So you're going thumb, middle, index, ring. We were talking about classical guitar relating thumb, index, middle, ring as pulgar, indeso, medio, angular, chico, because of the history of classical guitar. So you got, so it would be PMIA if you're doing Travis picking on the guitar in tune perhaps. This kind of figure. But the way I was taught to, so it's that figure, but then normally like people will teach Travis picking as thumb, index, thumb, index, thumb, middle, which is a square roll from banjo as a random thing, doing it this way. But if you actually watch Merle Travis do it, there are videos where he'll go thumb, index, thumb, index, thumb, index, thumb, index, thumb, index. So he does the whole thing like this. But nobody teaches it that way. But if you get a chance to go watch Merle Travis do Travis picking, it's crazy. But right on. See, oh yeah, it would be cool. That would be awesome. What Renee? I thought you had another question there, and I feel like I lost it in the thread somehow. Oh, thanks, Tom. What's your first name? But oh, that's hilarious. I do get that question. So Munson's actually my middle name. But my most people think it's my last name because Munson's normally traditionally a last name. I am named for a sheriff of Newberry County named Munson Buford. It's in my mom's lineage going back a long ways. I got the Munson part of the Munson Buford, and then my sister Buffy got the Buford. So my sisters are really cool though. Like the name, like we got all these weird family names. So my sister, my right below me is Janie Summer, is my last name, right? And Jamie Summer was the Bionic Woman, if you guys remember the Bionic Woman, right? Lee Majors and Bionic Woman. And then my other sister is Buffy Summer, and Buffy Summers, right, is the Vampire Slayer, right? So I have two like superhero sisters. So Munson Buford, there you go. Yeah, that's true. That's a true story. So my name is Walter Munson Summer. Is like my whole name. I know Tom, that was a good question, Tom, and I do get that question. But I'm named for my grandfather, Claridge Walter Summer, who hated his first name Claridge and went by Walter. And I'm also named after as well as Munson Buford. I'm also named for him through my grandfather on my mom's side. My grandfather was Cornelius Munson Buford, or Munson Davis, sorry. Cornelius Munson Davis. He hated Cornelius, and he also hated Munson, so he went by Neil. When he joined the Marines, he just went by Neil. So, and actually, it's Neil's, how he's just Neil, but actually it's Munson Cornelius. So he hated his first name too. So I'm actually carrying on a tradition of people in my family who hate their first name and go by their second name. Randomly. So instead of Walter, exactly. So I mean, when I was growing up though, oh man, thanks I'm the superhero. Oh, Tom, man, oh thanks, right? Susan's like, that's a funny story too, right? Walter, exactly. So my uncle Walter Summer, Walter Baker Summer, is the one who first taught me guitar. He's my first guitar teacher, and this is his guitar that he gifted me right before he passed away. And so anyway, so I'm playing Uncle Walter's guitar today for our live session. And when I was a kid though, they used to call me Little Walter. And so at some point when I was in high school, I was like, this is silly. Like that we have, my uncle is Walter, I'm Walter. My grandfather was Walter, but he's, passed on. But anyway, so I just started going by Munson because it was just easier and everybody knew, I mean, who there. The only problem by going by name, where people just call you Munson, is if people are talking around you in a small town, like this is a small town with like 3,000 people in the city limits, like they'll know me. So I better not mess up. You know what I mean? Little Walter. Renee was like, I call you Little Walter. But that's cool. You can call me whatever you want. I'm just here to help. But man, I probably need to let y'all go and go eat some lunch myself. This has been a really cool talk. From Chicago, snap. Oh, Little Walter. Is he really? I don't know Little Walter from Chicago. Maybe I should go meet him. But I hopefully this was helpful for everybody to do stuff. Chess Records? Oh man, Chess Records. All right, I'm gonna write that down, Renee. Little Walter Chess Records. I gotta go check it out. Is it blues stuff? I'm guessing it's blues. Like you said, Chicago and then Chess Records. I'm guessing it's blues or R&B. Woo! It's one or the other. I'm gonna check it out. Everybody, go listen to Little. Let's go bring it up. Actually, I can do that right now. I don't know if there's copyright issues with that there. Little Walter. Maybe that's a good thing to end on or something. Little Walter, Chess Records. Any particular songs? Cool. Barb. Oh, hey, Barb. Woo. Oh, Harp Player. Oh, my gosh. I see Little Walter, Complete Chess Masters. Oh, my gosh. What is all this? Yeah. Cadillac Records. Little Walter. Key to the Highway. There's a bunch of Little Walter up here. I got to check that out. Let's see. What's this sound like? Let's check it out. Oh, I got a Walmart commercial. Does anybody need to buy anything from Walmart? Oh man, they won't let me skip it. Now, I will say this too. I know they got the YouTube Red going on. I actually like not doing YouTube Red and just kind of like watching the videos like with the ads all the time because then I know people are getting paid. So if you go watch, go watch the ads on channels that you like, so they'll get paid.
Chicago had a sound nobody could touch.
Oh, this is a movie clip on it. Oh, this cat. Okay, got it. Okay, cool. So that's not the actual like. Oh yeah, definitely blue. Oh, that's hip, Renee. Right on. Cool. We gotta go watch the movie. This looks like it's from a movie. See, man, heck yeah, some blues. Oh yeah, we all need to go jam on some little Walter. Look him up, harp player. Oh yeah, man, that sounds great. That harmonica player. So Little Walter, the harmonica player. I had a harmonica. I used to keep a harmonica in my truck, and I would play the harmonica. It's like going down the road instead of listening to radio. But Muddy Waters is the man. Heck yeah. Let's see. Need the pop-up blocker. Oh man, no, I don't mind the pop-up blocker. No, it's all good, Susan. I really appreciate watching the ads, honestly. I think it's funny though, because like they always try and sell you like the things that they think you need, and for some reason lately they've been trying to sell me cars, and like I can't afford a car. So, but oh yeah, man, I bet that is a trip. I watch the ad when I'm on my town. Oh yeah, man, absolutely. Yeah. Go watching my ads, man. And really, like, randomly, I really appreciate all the support and you guys watching and all this stuff. And this is so wild and crazy to sit here and talk to myself and get your comments and hopefully answer some questions. Any other questions? Till next time, and I'll try and schedule something. This seemed like it worked pretty good. Sorry, the original link crashed, and I just I don't know, it just wasn't picking it up. I don't know what was up, but I'm so glad that y'all found me anyway. That was cool. So if we had a backup. See, they interrupt the middle of the piano. Oh yeah, oh man, yeah, absolutely, yeah. The ads are good. But hey, thank y'all all for coming. I really appreciate it. I'm gonna go eat some lunch and hang out with my family for the rest of the day. So thank you. Oh my gosh, that was great. Yeah, I really appreciate it. I will not skip the ads on my channel. Thank you, Dayun. Thanks so much. Oh, right on YouTube, Barb. Thanks for everybody for stopping in. I really do appreciate it. And keep on watching the videos. I'm sorry I don't have as much time as I used to. I feel like to post as much as I was, a couple years ago. Everybody's gotten busier, right? Thank you. We can all be busier again. So, bye for now. That's right, man. Cool. All right, cool. I will see y'all on the thing. If you've got other questions that you immediately think of, like I said, put a comment on a video and I will answer them. If you put a new comment on a video, I will see your comment. I will answer your question. I will try and send you the links. If you can't find something that I mentioned in this video, leave me a comment and I will try and put you a link there. Cool. Awesome. Y'all have a great day. All love to all of y'all. Woo-hoo-hoo!